Hey everyone, the Talking Dads podcast is brought to you by Little Scholars Early Learning Center. Whether your family needs infant care, a preschool program, or before and after school care, Little Scholars' highly rated Step Up to Quality programs provide quality early childhood education at an affordable price. Visit www.littlescholars.net to get in contact with an enrollment specialist and schedule a tour of any of their 5 Lake County campuses. Here's the deal. Talking Dads fans are getting a little bonus. Mention that you heard about them through our podcast, and when you tour, and you'll receive $25 off of your registration fee. Again, that's Little Scholars Early Learning Center, where children learn, play, and grow together. We are also brought to you by Pub Fredo Gastropub. Pub Fredo was voted Best Gastropub in Cleveland in 2019 by Cleveland Magazine Silver Spoon Awards. We love Pub Fredo. Their menu is chef-inspired, always pushing the limits of traditional pub fare. The other night I had a burger, I believe it was called the Pub Burger. It was incredible. Cooked perfectly. It was amazing. And you won't have a problem pairing your favorite item on the menu with their great selection of local craft beers, crafted cocktails, and of course, an amazing bourbon and whiskey selection. I went with the Bullet 10-year with my Pub Burger. All of this in a cozy, fun, come-as-you-are atmosphere. You can check them out at pubfredo.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Pubfredo Gastropub.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. On this week's episode, we had the honor of sitting down with Mark Gray of Xtreme Physique Personal Training. Mark is a very passionate personal trainer who is helping people to not only meet their physical fitness goals, but helping them to maintain that healthy lifestyle. Mark is just a very motivated and inspirational person with a very unique story. It was amazing to hear how he was able to pull such positive from such a tough time in his life. Along with that, we got into some great dad hacks, some proud dad moments, and overall, we just had an amazing time talking with Mark. So, as always, thank you and enjoy.
In a world where moms continue to dominate parenting authority and a father's role is minimized in society, 2 dads take on the toughest parenting topics on a weekly basis, all while drinking bourbon. They are the Talking Dads.
We're rolling?
Yeah.
We're rolling.
I was going to tell you, and we could use this too. So, the other night I'm watering my lawn.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just got finished with the mulch, and I'm watering the lawn at the ultimate dad compliment.
Someone
2
compliment
dads
your
come
lines?
pretty much. They come walking past the house, and they go, this dude and his wife, and there's two guys and their wives. They walk by, they go, hey, man, yard looks great. And I'm sitting on the front porch with like my hose. I'm like,
Just instant rising.
I'm like, damn. I'm like, I did it.
It's like, you're a man now.
I did it.
You're an official man.
You just start flexing.
They walk away. I'm just like,
Right.
like damn straight. So yeah, it was a good feeling, man. So anyway, how's it going?
Going good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Thank you for coming on, Ian. What's going on with you?
Nothing. Yeah, we are here again. Collab by Notion, beautiful downtown Willoughby. Mark, before we get started, give us your dad profile, who you are, what makes you a dad.
Cool.
A couple seconds of that.
Cool. I'm Mark Gray. I am a father to a son, Tristan. I'm a stepfather to my stepdaughter, Zoe, and a stepfather to Dakota, who passed in 2018.
Yeah, and that's we're definitely going to get into that. You know, it's a awful tragedy, and the anniversary was not too long ago, right?
4th of July.
We'll definitely get into that, but let's start on a lighter note. What you are a trainer, and I definitely want to get into a little bit of that, like not so much, like specifics or anything like that, but what I always try and think about when we have a different guest coming on is like, okay, what do they do in their professional life that mirrors being a dad?
Sure.
And I feel like being a trainer, I mean, it just like jumps off the page.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah,
Or...
so I'm a personal trainer. I like to call it a physique transformation coach because there's more than just the one-on-one training. There's nutrition protocols.
Now, wait, is that like how Subway calls their people sandwich artists?
I mean, I'm just fucking with you. Fuck, I mean, hey, we all got to have some kind of
right. No, I'm just messing with you.
No. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much developing a plan. Staying on their ass. So I guess like a dad.
Yeah.
You know, you got to hold the accountabilities there for sure.
So that would probably be even more so what I was thinking. So like when I think of a personal trainer, now to be fair, I've never used a personal trainer.
Right.
Probably should, but you know, we'll get into that later. But when I think of a personal trainer, it's more of somebody to keep you honest, right?
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
It's somebody that you can't disappoint. Like people will quit on themselves all the time. But if you have an appointment, whether it's the money aspect or it's just being accountable to somebody else.
Absolutely.
But when you talk about like a physique transformation coach, right? You're going into specific goals, and it's not necessarily just like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, so I'm going to buy 8 sessions from you. It's you're working with somebody on a very specific goal.
There's different levels of the program. Like I do the one-on-one, the personal training. Somebody can come to me one time, realize, hey, wasn't a fan of that, and go on their way. There's no commitment to like, certain things. It's just different level. I want to hit, I guess my goal is to hit that level where I'm big on finding your why. That's like my motto.
Okay,
I'm sure you've seen it on my social media. I'm always saying, find your why. And I don't mean I want to lose 5 pounds to look better in this bathing suit. No, it's like, I want to know, why do you really want to change your life? Whether it be for your spouse, your children, you have some health issues. I want the deep shit. Like I'm looking for, let's get into this. Let's make you uncomfortable.
That's a whole lifestyle change that you're looking for. Because there's people that will go to a trainer, not with that intention to go and completely change their lifestyle. They're like thinking maybe like, oh, I'm just gonna get in there and I'm gonna get ripped and it's gonna be easy. And a lot of times they find out pretty quick that that's not the case. And then I guarantee you probably see a lot of people drop
it's
out.
Happened. I mean, it does, unfortunately. I mean, people will drop out. They won't stick with the plan once they realize that I don't have some magic pill, magic workout routine that's going to make the results happen for them. You actually have to put in work.
That's hard work.
Yeah, and I'm going to hold you fucking accountable. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And you'll notice, I mean, the team that I have, like I said, I own and operate Xtreme Physique Personal Training. Everybody on my team, I call it Team Xtreme. Everybody on my team has this like-minded mindset where we're a bunch of different individuals, but everybody has that, like, it's almost like an aggression, like the confidence. So, like, they're willing to go to that level of being uncomfortable to push further and to grow as a person. I feel like you grow. I mean, it happens all the time. I watch somebody grow from having no self-confidence to being Conor McGregor, pretty much walking around.
And that's the thing too, like I said, lifestyle change. I mean, I could change everything even outside of the gym.
And that's that. When I got into this, that was more so my goal. It was, I want to use what I'm passionate about in fitness and bodybuilding and doing what I love to do to get people, to reach people in a way that it's not just, okay, we're going to make you look better naked. Yeah. Right. No, I want to improve your fucking life. Like I want to look at you and be like, your life is better because of the work you put into this.
That's build confidence.
Yeah. Well, and so like what we've talked about it several times on the show before is like building confidence is something that as fathers, and even as men or as humans, we are charged with doing to the next generation, right? Like I am so incredibly fortunate that my parents instilled so much freaking confidence in me. Like when I fucked up, they let me know and I had to fix it. But then also they would celebrate when I did something great. Like if I accomplished something, whether it was on the baseball field or, you know, when I was doing karate or when I graduated boot camp, like that was like you talk about a confidence, but like not even just like, you know, finishing the crucible and shit like that. It was like graduation deck. My dad's there. You know, my mom and dad were there. Yeah. Like, that was incredible.
That's actually what got me emotional. In
the
moment.
100%.
Marine Corps veteran as well.
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't so much, it was what we went through to accomplish that goal, and it was a self-accomplishment. But when you looked out, and like you said, same situation. Parents, my grandparents had a family there.
Right. It's just that really affirmation that, like, I'm a bad dude now. You know what I mean? Like, I did something
and they're
like,
to support you. And that's the biggest thing right there.
And like, you know, my dad, like there was no, like, my dad was not the, like he would recognize, like, especially in athletics when I did something well, but for the most part, he was tough love. It was, you need to do better. Like there
Right.
is no, if you're going to do something, do it right. I mean, I know that's something that I took away from my dad.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I put into my son
Right.
and my daughter too. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to do it right.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's a
And that's
similar
huge.
mindset. I mean, if you're going to do something, we're not half-assing.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
care what it is.
Do
You're
to
gonna-
completion, do it the right way.
And you're going to be, your goal is to be the best at it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're not the best at it, but if you put in the effort and the mindset that you're going to be the best at it.
And that's the thing that drives me crazy. So my son's 4, but sometimes like I hate when not that he can't do something, it's when he doesn't try.
Yep.
And I'm like, he's like, why are you upset? I'm like, buddy, it's just because you're not trying.
Right.
And that's what makes me upset. He's
Right.
like, I'm like, I just want you to try.
Right.
You know, that's my biggest thing is like, if you just put the effort forth and try. I mean, I know he's 4.
Right.
But still, I'm like, you don't.
But it starts now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, it
I
does.
always- I'm like, don't give up. I'm like, don't say that you can't do it.
Right.
I'm like, I want you to try. And that's
Right.
the biggest thing. And I mean, I think my parents were always very helpful with everything like that, very
Right.
supportive. But I was thinking of something, and this is kind of funny. How your parents always supported you, like you were saying. I'll never forget. So I was playing baseball, and it was a summer league, and my grandpa and my dad were at every single game, and as well as my mom. But my dad had a video camera, and he was working on my swing.
Like the old
Right.
school. Like,
Yeah. And he was like, and I'll never forget it. Like I hit like a home run in this game, and I watched the video later because he's like, I want you to watch your swing on this. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it was sweet. I'm watching the video. My grandpa goes, oh man, that's not, like, I hit the ball. It looked like it was effortless. Goes out of the park. My grandpa's like, oh man, that's gone. My dad's like, yeah. You could tell he was not like
Right.
happy with it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right. It's a home run,
I'm like,
motherfucker.
dude.
But I mean,
my
that's
swing
what we
wasn't-
do as dads,
Yeah.
though, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
you
not
have
like
to.
that's not good enough.
No,
like,
he's like that swing wasn't what you usually do. He's
Right.
like, it was-
And it's not to be an asshole.
No,
it's,
right.
it's
He's like,
to
just-
make you better.
Exactly. He's like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And like,
Right.
I'm like, it was fine. It worked, but it's like, that was not what
But
we were
isn't
working
it
on.
so messed up that like when you were 12 years old and saw that reaction, you're probably like, man,
fuck.
And then like now that you're a dad, like you understand
Absolutely.
it. You're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
He's
It's-
not satisfied because that wasn't my best swing.
And
like,
to be honest with you, exactly.
might
at
have
the time-
succeeded.
Yeah, I was like,
Right.
oh, this is great. But I did take away from that was, okay, well then this weekend, like we did all the time, was I'll be in the garage with him and he'll throw me the little,
Those little
the wiffle balls, like
yeah.
the little golf wiffle balls.
Yeah.
And I had a
remember
broomstick bat, and that's what he would just throw me soft toss for like
I remember
an
that,
hour
man.
and a half straight. Like that's all we would do. And that's what we would do. And I loved it though. Like, I mean, that was not what I wanted to be doing all the time. I'd rather be out playing with my friends,
Right.
but that was our time together.
And especially looking back on it.
Oh, dude, I
it's
love-
like those things that.
Dude, you remember that more than us farting around
Yeah,
riding
absolutely,
bikes.
absolutely,
over, you
'cause
know what I
we've been
mean?
doing
Like,
something-
We did that a lot, and we had good times doing that.
but I don't remember all of it.
Right,
Like
right.
I remember those times.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was always working really hard with me on that stuff. So that always meant the world to me.
yeah.
100%. So like training, and again, kind of going back to the original point was,
Yeah, my bad.
no, it's cool. That was awesome. It made sense. But like what we do as a living oftentimes transfers to how we are as a father.
Right.
Right. And so if you're in sales and you're working on how to get the most out of them, whether it's verbally or with
Right.
incentives or something like that, or like I know I do that, you
Yeah.
know, or training, I would imagine, is the same thing.
Right.
I mean, do you
There is. I mean, I feel like there's a million ways to skin a cat. Like you got to approach every client different. You can't be, hey motherfucker, you know, you
Right.
could have got an extra rep. You can't do that with everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you can't.
and that's the same with kids, right?
Yeah, every
absolutely.
kid's different.
I mean, everybody gets a different version of me based on how. I mean, that's part of being a motivator. How it's my job to find out how to best motivate you so you succeed. When you come to me with your goal, your why, it becomes my why. It becomes my goal, and I feel like I take that personally because I don't want to fail you, and I don't want to be the reason that you don't reach your goal. I would like to be the guy that gets you there, but also understanding that I'm not the only reason you're here. You
Right.
put forth the effort. And we do that as dads. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
And with me, the big thing about what I hope my son takes from this is I'm doing something I love to do. I took a risk. I went out here and said, fuck it. I'm done with regular jobs, normal things like that. I'm going all in. I'm putting all the cards on the table with something I love. And if I fail, I fucking fail.
Sure.
But he sees that, okay, dad's doing something he loves. And that's all he's going to know. I mean, he'll be 4 here in a couple days. I mean, and he's going to know that his dad did something he's passionate about. And if there's one thing, because how many times do you see the complacency in everyday life where
Sure.
it's just, you know, you come home from work, You're not a fan of your job, but what can you do? You do it to provide for your family.
Well, and so I would even take that one step further. I think that you can, to me, what you're showing for you is your happiness, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, there's lots of people that can work a job that they don't necessarily love or it's not their passion and still be happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You find happiness elsewhere.
There's right. If you
sure.
can find happiness elsewhere and you can do other things
Right.
and show your kids what happiness is.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, that's the goal, right?
Right. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't care what your physical goals are or your monetary goals or whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you can come up with happiness, then you fucking win. Like
Every time.
So like, because I mean, for example, like I know with my stuff, like on a daily basis, I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
On a weekly basis, not so much sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's super frustrating.
Right.
Like,
And that's
I
work,
have
though, a lot of
the
times.
most stress that you can, like, I don't know, like other people have stress too, but
Right.
like for me, like a lot of times I get stressed out about it, and you know, sometimes I'll find myself like not being my best self in front of my kids, and I know that like this podcast, for example, doing this always resets me,
Right.
And so that's why I love doing
Yeah,
this,
absolutely.
especially on like Friday nights, because then I'm reset for the weekend.
Yep. And then you can be the best.
Tomorrow morning we got T-ball, and I can be
Right.
ready to go.
You need something to clear your mind.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's what bodybuilding has been for me. It's exactly that.
Perfect.
It was something that cleared my mind from the negative shit in my life. It
Right.
cleared my mind from the anxiety or just the stress of daily life. It's like that 45 minutes to an hour, whatever I'm there for. When I'm hitting the weights, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, that's my therapy. It's my
Right.
time for myself. I can get a clear head, and I know that when I leave there, I'm going to be a better person than not just physically with my goals,
Right.
but just mentally for everybody who's involved with me.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, if I don't have this, I'm a dickhead.
Yeah, sure.
I went through surgeries, and I can't imagine my poor wife.
Right.
It's like I didn't have this for a couple months, and I'm like, I'm not whole.
Well, we need that, right? Like humans
gotta have-
need some
But it
kind
makes
of,
you feel so much better.
Right.
If you could knock that out, like I'm not on my routine that I was on for the longest time. Like
Right.
I would wake up at 5 and I'd go to the gym, work out, shower up, and go to work. And that was like, I'm just ready for the day. But like now that I haven't been, I can just feel it. Like I can feel that just like that lull, like that.
Yeah.
Just I'm not gonna say depression, but like just down. Like I just
Yeah.
don't have that extra
It's not the
energy,
same. Yep.
and I just don't feel good about myself and everything. So I just have to get back into that
Yep.
again. But yeah, man, like it's tough. Like you guys were saying, like coming home from work, like you have a stressful day and you're not your best self.
Right.
And you have
It's
to,
taken
you
out on
have to
everybody.
dig deep to try to like, because as soon as you walk through that door and your kids are home, especially now, I'm not like, they're not at daycare. Usually I pick
Right.
them up from daycare and then I bring them home. But now I walk in the door and they're home a lot of the time. And it's like, they instantly need me. Like,
Right.
and all I want to do is just go put my feet up and relax,
Right,
eat dinner and just chill. But you have to really dig down deep and just do what they
And-
want
and
to
that
do for a
comes with
couple
being a dad.
hours. Yeah, absolutely. And you do. And I mean, you find yourself in those moments sometimes like, oh my God. But really, it's the best, man.
it is.
I mean,
well,
I
and
have
that's
such
the
a good time.
message, though. I mean, especially to like, again, part of the reason we started this podcast was to reach the guy that just found out that his girlfriend's pregnant or his
Right.
wife's pregnant. They weren't
Yeah.
planning on it, and oh shit, my life's over. Like my personal, I can't do what I want to do anymore,
Right.
whatever. And part of that is absolutely true.
Right.
Like you got new responsibilities.
Yeah, your life's changing.
But I think what Steve just said, it's not necessarily natural to walk in the door after doing what you had to do all day,
Right.
your responsibilities, and be the perfect dad.
Right.
Like that is just not a natural thing.
Yeah, it's tough.
I've never met anybody that is 100% natural. You have to work
Right.
at it,
It
right?
takes
and
effort.
so like again, I think that translates to personal training or to really any other job, but like if you want to excel at something, you have to
Right.
put the work in.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
it takes reps.
Right.
For sure.
And,
That's
and
not
that's,
easy.
that's my motto. It's not going to be, I mean, not everyone's cut out to train with me. And I'm not trying to say that as like, hey, I'm some badass trainer, because I can work with any fitness level, any age level.
Yeah.
As long as you have the drive. And that's what I look for in people. And I'm really good at reading people
Yeah.
when it comes to that. That's why I want to know your why. Because if it's just a bullshit reason,
Yeah.
that goal, it's going out the window when the next thing catches your eye.
Sure.
But
For
if
sure.
it's saying like, hey, my son, I promised, for example, I promised my son something, you bet your ass I'm going to believe that person to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's another reason to get into shape, right? And to take care of yourself.
Right.
A lot of people, like, even like after having kids, like, yeah, you don't have the time for it a lot of the time, but it's like, man, I need to change my lifestyle because I want to be here for my family.
Fuck, I went through the dad bod phase, and then I got back into bodybuilding, thankfully. But my big thing with me was my son likes superheroes. Like I said, he'll be 4 on the 15th. He's huge into superheroes. There's no better feeling to me when he's like, looks like my dad.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
That's
fun.
awesome.
Hell yeah,
It's
man.
like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's like, damn straight, buddy.
but it is.
My kid did that in the Avengers, the last one with Thor.
Just cracking a beer open.
Yeah, but it is. It's the coolest. And like little things like that, unless you're a parent and you don't understand what that really feels like, because it brings a new level of happiness that you just haven't felt that. Like it's
Right.
You know, you can have people look up to you. You could be a role model, but honestly, unless it's a child and your child or whatever, if you're
It's a different game.
There's
even
no
a parent,
there's no better feeling than that, man.
No.
It's a different game. And kind of like you said with your son, if you can find something, I think the other thing to remember is that kids are their own people, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to shape them and you're
Right.
going to mold them and push them in the direction that you see best fit for them, but they are their own people. And so you don't know what they're going to get into. I mean, you can try and push your kid to do something, but if they don't genuinely love it, like they're not going to follow the directions as well, right? And so like if your kid likes superheroes, like that's perfect, you know?
Yeah.
I think talking about that, I think my mom would actually be kicking my ass right now because I did exactly that. That was me. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't rebellious or anything like that. I wasn't, some dickhead sneaking out and doing anything bad like that. It's just I've always been very extreme with everything I do. So it kind of so here I am, the top 10 of my high school class. Didn't really know what the hell I wanted to do, and I go, "Hey, Mom, I'm joining the Marine Corps. I'm an only child." So here's 17 years old telling my mom that her only child.
Yeah.
I was a miracle baby. She couldn't have any more kids. So I've kind of put her through hell when it
Yeah.
comes to, and
Yeah.
it's been decision after decision after decision like that. But I was my own person. I had to find my own path. I mean, regardless of how clear cut the other path seemed in my life, I like to go for whatever reason, the bumpier road, because that's just, I like the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. There's something about like the paths in life and how everyone gets there, right? And some people get there early, some people get there later. It doesn't really matter because everyone's at their own pace. But I think that's so true, is that you find this path and you look back and you're like, how did I get to where I'm at? And it could be positive or negative, right?
You got to be able to pull the positive out of every negative situation.
Well, and you just have to be self-aware about how you got there, like, and be honest about it.
Yeah, with yourself.
Right. Yeah, because no one else's opinion really matters.
No.
But like dude, you saying that, like my mom, like I was 17 when I did my paperwork, and my mom and dad had to sign off, and my dad was like, "See ya,"
Right?
You know,
It's like, perfect.
and but I remember my mom being so like supportive and just being like, "All right, I'll sign it." You know.
Oh, and then to take
you're
it to the
gonna be
next
great.
level, I had Intel jobs thrown my way. I scored very high in the ASVAB. Hey, Mom, I'm gonna go be a grunt. So
I didn't, but
fuck
yeah,
me, right?
right.
So sorry, Mom.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know. I just remember my mom being so like supportive. Every time I would call, it was like business as usual. And I remember like when I got out, my dad and I sat down and had a drink or something, had a cigar or something like that. And he was just like, "You don't know what you put your fucking mom through."
Yeah,
Like,
I've been there.
what? Like she was all like, I was always good.
they're just
And she's
killing
like,
her on the back
she
end,
was,
like-
she was there, because she didn't want you to know
you
that.
did,
you know?
right? And that, as parents, we do that. How many times do we do that?
100%.
We put on the
100%.
right.
Yeah, it's be interesting. I mean, you think about, like you said, you don't always go the path that your parents want you to.
Right.
So that's what's always kind of like, man, what is my kid going to do? Like, what's he going to get into? You never know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
No idea.
and it's scary to think about.
Right.
And all you can do is do your best to raise a good
human. Absolutely. You hope
know?
so. Your job is to just lead them the right way and hope you teach them, morals and just hope
And that's
you
what
push
it
them
is,
along.
morals and
Exactly, because they're going to
values.
do what they want to do.
Right.
So
Well, and again, like going back to the personal training thing, like in my mind at least, like if I was to hire you as my personal trainer, my expectation is that, you provide the specifics.
Right.
But the work comes down to me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so it's the same thing with kids. Like
Right.
you can provide the specific things that they need to do, step A through Z, to get to where you think that they're, hopefully surpass their potential.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's still up to them.
Absolutely.
And so if you can, at a young age, start molding them to make those good choices and do the right thing, then they're just going to be set up for success.
For sure. And they mimic what they see more than that's where it goes. Actions, speak louder than words. I try to show him and even my stepdaughter actions. I mean, don't tell me what you're going to do. And same with my clients. I mean, this goes back to, the career thing. I don't want to hear about all the good you're going to do. Don't bullshit me with it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Show me when we're together. Show me when we're not together. When I'm looking at your check-in pictures, or you're saying, "Hey, it's 3 months and I look totally different." I know you've put in the work.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the kids, like, they reflect on like what you do. Like they mimic what you do, and it's funny too because you'll see them acting like you do.
Yeah.
So you have your moments where you kind of get like you get pissy or something, and like you see you show your attitude.
Right.
And when you see them do it and they act like you, I'm like, son of a bitch.
It's almost humbling. Like it's like you. Damn it!
It's like, he's doing what I'm doing.
Well,
but it's in a good way.
And you can't be mad about it.
No,
It's like,
no, you can't.
I'm like, I did that.
You know exactly
I
where
did
they
that.
got it from.
Because the one day I'm like trying to tell Sam to say something. I was working at. I'm like always big on manners.
Yeah.
So I'm like, say I, and like I did it really slowly. I'm gonna say I need help, please. Like I said it like that real slowly.
Right.
So the other day he comes to my bed and I'm not waking up. He wants me to wake up to fix his transformer for him. He goes, I need you to wake up. And I'm like, oh my God, that is 100% me. I'm like, I gotta stop this shit.
Right. You're thinking, you motherfucker.
I'm like, I'm okay, I'm up.
Right.
Yeah. You got me.
Touche.
Yeah, Tristan actually says he's saying it all the time now. I'm going to be a bodybuilder or I'm going to train people. And I'm looking at him like, please don't. Please. Because it's so much sacrifice. Like,
oh yeah,
you can't, there's times like if you're in a prep or something, you can't go out to eat with your kids or your wife, or you can, but you're bringing your own food or trying to order off the menu, make sure you can go to a place that has plain chicken breast. And it's just, I don't want to see him, if that's what he wants to do, I'll support it, of course.
But then that's like, you see people like, I remember in high school, like our friends who were wrestlers, watching them trying to make weight and like watching them go through like something as simple as like home ec class.
Right.
Like I remember like we were making all these like desserts and shit, and they can't eat them, and they're just so pissed and just like they're just mood swings were just incredible. Like I can imagine like when you're going out to eat, and like you said, you're like, okay, well I have to get like just
time.
Grilled chicken, nothing on it, just like and
I'm watching my wife eat Texas
like,
Roadhouse rolls, and I'm like, fuck.
Texas rolls with the cinnamon spread and everything.
Isn't that the quintessential like dad theory though? Is that, or maybe not theory, but like you want your kids to be better than you,
Absolutely.
right? And I don't know if I totally agree with that. Like, and I just like to play devil's advocate a lot, but like, I guess in my head is if I'm not proud, if I wouldn't be proud, or not proud, proud's not a good word. You're going to be proud of your kids, for the most part, whatever they do. But if I don't think that something is good enough for my kids, then what the fuck am I doing, and what kind of example am I setting? You know what I mean?
True.
And again, that's probably deep,
Right.
but like you said, like
There are negatives too.
Now I can see saying like, I don't want you to do it because I'm doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's probably the wrong reason. If you're doing something in your life because somebody else is doing it, like, it's probably not the best reason. Now, if you get into it and you're inspired by somebody, that's a whole different story. But like, I try not to, I don't know. I hear that a lot, like from, like my dad, for example, like he was like, dude, I don't want you to be a cop. You know, my dad was a cop for 26 years or something like that. And like, I got out of the Marine Corps, and the first thing I want to do is go be a cop, and, that didn't end up working out, but I remember him telling me, I'm so glad, I want it better for you. And I'm like, what did you do that for all those years for then, And now I've actually talked to him about that before, and he's like, I loved the job. I really did. And I had opportunities to do other stuff, and I decided not to because I genuinely enjoyed being on the road. I loved being on the street, whatever. And so like I can respect that.
Yeah.
So I guess there are ways that you can love what you do, but still want more.
Absolutely. You always want more for your kids.
I think it's that you don't want your kids to experience the negative things.
Sure.
Like I'm sure like being the cop.
Yeah.
The shit that he had to deal with that. He probably is thinking, okay, the negatives outweigh the positives with this. And the same with like bodybuilding. I mean, that's, which is crazy because my dad, when I got into bodybuilding, How I got into it, I was like 14 years old. I was doing some boxing. My grandfather was a professional boxer. So I was doing some boxing, and I started lifting weights for boxing.
Sure.
And then I started reading the muscle and fitness magazines, found Jay Cutler.
And
Jay was my guy.
Ronnie Coleman,
Right.
like those guys from that era.
My parents actually took me, this is how spoiled I was, being an only child. They took me to the 2006 Mr. Olympia in Vegas. So it was an excuse for them to go to Vegas.
Sure.
I got to go watch the Olympia, and that was the year Jay Cutler, who was my favorite bodybuilder, dethroned Ronnie Coleman and became Mr. Olympia. And so that moment to me is just, it stands out.
That's
in my
cool.
life.
That's really
It's
cool,
like,
man.
It was one of the things, it's like, this guy busted his ass to get to a point, and I just watched him do this. And like my mom and dad were very supportive of that, back then. And my dad got into lifting weights, and that's something we still do together. I mean,
That's
cool.
Bodybuilding has kind of brought my family closer, in a sense. Without it, I mean, we'd be close. We've always been close, but it's something we could do
something
together.
else. Yeah.
Which I'll look forward to that with my son. I just don't want him to get into the negatives that come with,
for sure.
With all the other shit.
And that's 100% fair. I have a question. Is bodybuilding today the same or worse or better from a mainstream standpoint than it was? Like I remember, and I was never really that big into weights. Like I like to lift a little heavy every once in a while when I was younger, and could do it without like cracking everything.
Yeah, right.
But no, I remember getting those muscle and fitness magazines and seeing like who's that dude with the Superman tattoos that was
Lee
all
Priest?
Lee Priest. He was like, and then he went like crazy, and but like he was really entertaining to like see and hear his interviews and stuff like that. Like, who's the guy now?
We
Like,
don't have one. And
There's no guy
the
now.
Problem.
Is that the problem?
Jay Cutler was the last of
Yeah,
that guy.
I remember.
Everybody knew exactly who that was.
Everybody-
We all did.
and
Even
we-
if you weren't even into bodybuilding.
You
it was
can't.
like,
Brandon Curry just won the most recent Mr. Olympia. Who the hell, outside of somebody who's literally watching?
yeah,
his
and I would have no
bodybuilding,
idea.
knows who he is. And I think that's one of the issues with the sport. Clearly, there's the drugs involved and everything. Like with it's not like everybody knows what's really going on
Oh, yeah.
in professional bodybuilding at that top Olympia level.
Yeah, it's not too secretive.
It's been the Arnold days. I mean, it's been there for years.
Right.
But we just don't have that entertaining person. Like UFC has their Conor McGregor. They've had their Ronda Rousey. They have people that are bigger. They grow the sport.
Yeah.
Right. Bodybuilding hasn't had
doesn't
that
have
since
it.
Jay. And I think that's
The
it's
same can be said about baseball right now.
Right.
But to be same thing.
I mean,
could be
because
said
like
about
when
baseball.
they had all the PEDs or whatever, and everybody was hitting bombs all the time.
Right.
Everybody was paying attention to Bonds and McGuire and Sosa and
that
everything.
chase was like,
But then they don't even have a face anymore that anybody really cares about.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
true.
I mean, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Don't punch me. But Jay Cutler was boring as fuck.
yeah, he was he was a boring.
He was
he's
only
still-
cool though because I think he was probably the first guy to get some real money out
Right.
of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I think
so
that's
like
what
he had the
inspired
house
everybody.
and
He was very
his
good with the
wife
fans.
was smoking
so
hot.
when you're
and-
going to the Arnold Classic
Yeah.
and you're into bodybuilding, the fact that Jay took time
Yeah.
to meet
Yeah,
with
that's cool.
everybody,
Okay,
you
that's
didn't
cool,
see
yeah.
you didn't see that from some of the other guys. Like
Right.
and it was like the first impression was everything.
Yeah.
So this dude's spending 10 hours a day shaking
Right.
everyone's hand, answering bullshit questions, the same
guess
questions.
Did you ever get into any, like watching those guys? Like I remember there was
I remember
like
when I was younger.
yeah.
Because I remember the fitness magazines and everything like that. Because my brother would always get them. He was always big
Right.
into lifting
Yeah.
when I was younger, so I always saw those magazines. But I remember all that though.
Yeah.
Like I remember that was big when we were younger. Like
Yeah.
what were we like in junior high and high
and
school?
you don't see it
probably?
High
with social
school.
medias. I think social media has ruined the sport too. We have everybody thinks they're
'Cause so many
somebody.
people now,
There's so many
yeah.
people. Everybody's looking to make a dime selling some
Yeah.
bullshit.
Supplement.
I created
Everything,
this
man.
supplement. I
Yeah.
created
Oh my
this
God,
training
man.
program. And it's like stick to the basics. Just be
Yeah.
consistent. There are no secrets. There is no such thing
No.
as an Instagram secret. But it's hurt the sport. I mean, in a negative way because everybody's a
that.
fucking coach.
Right.
Everybody it looks hard for Instagram.
Right.
Well, that's
Or,
the thing
you
though. Like
know,
even
it's
like on YouTube though, like, you have those commercials all the time. These
Right.
guys that are like I can't remember what the commercial is. But every time I get a commercial that interrupts it, and it's a guy talking about like a fitness plan, and it's like
Right.
I don't even know who this guy is.
I know what you're talking about.
But it's all the time,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, why the hell am I seeing this constantly?
Right.
But it's like there's so many of those. So like you're right.
Yeah,
There's everybody's doing it.
Everybody is
And
a
there's so many
coach.
different like supplements, and there's so many
Right.
different. There's so much shit out there now. It's like
it
became
90%
real
of it's
confusing.
bullshit.
It
I mean,
did.
it's
It's
a
overwhelming, too.
multi-billion-dollar industry.
yeah, and then it's like and then all I want to do is hit the skip button. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any. I mean, sometimes I'm kind of intrigued, and I'm like,
Right.
maybe I'll watch this commercial through, but they just dance around they never get into
Right.
what the secret is.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I'll watch and see what happens. There is
Because you got to pay for the program.
And even that is generally bullshit.
Yeah,
Of course
exactly.
it is.
So I'm like, skip. So I mean, it's like you said, Instagram and everything like that.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that people are paying attention to on anything in like any type of sport or anything right now is TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no super like athlete that anybody's paying attention to.
No.
It's just like the stupid bullshit. Like you have these Instagram and TikTok stars that people are following.
Right.
Dude, we said it though. We said this 5 years ago about Instagram. You know what I mean? Like that's just where the attention goes. I mean, like if you really look at social media and like, look, I'm no social media all-star by any means, but like
you're getting there.
yeah, right.
You're an influencer.
But like I enjoy like the business side behind it.
Right.
And
Oh,
if
for
you
sure.
look
There's
at
a lot
it's
of good
like
positives. There's a lot of
Facebook
positives.
was only for college kids.
Right.
Right. And then college kids got sick of the older people, like the people in their 30s getting on it.
Right.
And so then they created Instagram.
Right.
And then now everyone in their 30s is on Instagram. And so then they created, Snapchat and TikTok.
And we're all on that too.
I will say social media, without social media, I wouldn't be as successful.
Social media really helps out a lot.
It's a good way to show your personality to, I guess,
social media is an equalizer.
Advertisers,
It's an equalizer because back in the day you had to either pay Google to run your ads, and then before that it was like the Yellow Pages or the local newspaper, right? Like the tools have just changed, and because of the reach of social media and how it's not social media isn't directly influenced by the dollars that you spend.
Right.
Like yes, you can get yourself ahead of the game
for sure.
But if you're good at it, you can do it for free. Like you couldn't do that in the newspaper. You couldn't do that on Google. Like,
and that's where transformations. Like if you have one successful client who actually listened to you, followed the plan, did everything that they were supposed to do, and didn't try to customize it their own way. Literally listened to you with full, like through and through. It's happened. That's where a lot of my business comes from. Is hey, I've seen such and such. You've done such a great job.
And they can promote you too. I mean, and
that's what happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and that's the social part of it, right? Like, oh, shit, I'm fucking flying through this.
Take it easy, bro. Take it easy.
It's no White Claw.
It's no White Claw, buddy. Or Arnie.
That's cool though. Like I love talking about that kind of stuff. And again, that all translates back to like how you approach parenting.
Yep,
right.
Absolutely, and that's the main thing.
Whether it's the actual physical training of somebody, like there's a lot of things in there. And then there's also, I mean, you're running a business, right? Yeah. And so like you understand the sacrifices that you're making and the plays that you're making and see the outcomes, and you have to weigh everything. Like, all right, if I do this, is it taking away time or money from what I could be doing with my kids, and what's more important for short term versus long term? Like, you got to run through all that shit in your head, and it's insane.
I actually almost go.
No, absolutely.
No, I almost go through that with people. Like, hey, if I train you, like I almost put people through an application process before I accept them as a client, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. If we're not a good fit, that's why I do this initial consult to meet them. Because if we're not a good fit, I'm gonna be upfront. I'm not worried about your money.
Right.
I'm gonna say, hey, I just don't think I'm the best fit. I could try to recommend you to somebody who I think would be better for your personality, your goals. But I mean, getting into that, it's just.
Well, that's good though. I mean, I think like. I mean, I know we do that kind of with so I own childcare centers. Like that's part of what we do is we talk to families before, and I always suggest that you go find another place first and see what you're really looking for. Because a lot of times people don't know. I would imagine if you're going to a personal trainer, and maybe this isn't true, but my idea in my head is that most clients are finding a personal trainer for the first time.
A lot of times.
Like, I don't know how.
Not so much
maybe I'm
like
not. Maybe I'm
contest
wrong.
prep coach, because everybody and their brother jumps from coach to coach to coach. There's no loyalty in the sport anymore.
Okay, well, that's different.
But when it comes to like personal trainer, it's a big step to say, I'm going to walk in the like.
Well, I would imagine if you did it once and it didn't work out for you, you would probably, I guess, if you're the type of person that you didn't follow what you were supposed to do and you didn't see the results, that you're probably going to be discoured from trying that again.
Yeah. Right. There's some people that may go out and try to find somebody else. Maybe
I've had it actually where I have a client who's become a really good friend of mine. He was training somewhere else previously, and I don't want to knock anybody else in the profession, but I don't think they were actually truly listening to his goal. because he now has made so much improvement since we've been working together for a year that, I mean, it's night and day. And, and to me, it pisses me off because it's like, I know the dedication that this man has. And if he's going to give me that, I know he gave them that too. And don't fuck somebody over. Just take
that's the problem though with any profession. There's a lot of people like that, and they don't take the time. They don't have the passion for it. Like if you're genuine and you're really out there to help somebody, looking past the money thing, really, and then people could see that. People can read that off someone. So
or devil's advocate here.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I'm a firm believer in that. People don't change until they're actually ready to change.
For sure.
Whether it's you're going to quit smoking or you're going to lose 35 pounds or you're going to start that business or, whatever it is that people talk, right? People always talk.
You say, I'm going to quit this. I'm going to start. Monday is the diet. I start the diet Monday.
I'm going to do it.
Monday's the start,
A lot of times, like, you get motivated, right? And motivation is great. But until you're driven, like there's being motivated and there's being driven. Until you're driven to do something, you're not going to make that change for yourself. No, I agree. Right? And so
it's getting over that hump of actually doing it. Right. Like, 'cause you could always say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And people sit down and they're like, they write out their plan and that shit goes out the window 3 days later. You're like, I got other stuff to do.
And so to your credit, maybe that for that client, like they were motivated, but they weren't driven until they started working with you. Yeah, like maybe something clicked. You know what I mean? Because and it very well could be that trainer sucked. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's personality.
But if that person wasn't ready, like
at that time,
because I think if you're ready, you're gonna do whatever it takes. For sure,
right? Like, I don't know. That's my mindset with everything and that's where, to me, I had to realize that not everybody's wired the same way.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, I will do whatever it takes to get from point A to point B as soon as it's in my head. I mean, that's just my personality. I guess the best thing that, not to toot my own horn or anything, but what I like to do best and what, I'm good at as a trainer, I like to show people they have that somewhere inside of them. Everybody has that. I don't care who you are. Somebody, you have to pull that out of yourself or have somebody help
it's
you.
There.
It's a good dad lesson too, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, I mean, we've kind of beat that down now, but like, how that translates.
But it does, and it's all relevant.
You've got it inside you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Boy, that get your butt up, like you can do it.
And that's being a dad. I don't care what the kids do, as long as they go at it with heart and fire.
Absolutely.
I mean, have passion, love what you do, and fucking have that.
Well, say like you have a sport that you want them to get into, and they start it, and they don't like it.
Yeah.
You're going to finish it. You're going to finish out the season. You're going to get through it. You're going to finish it. And then when it's all over, sure, you can try something else. Right. But you're going to finish what we're doing right now. We're not going to half-ass it. We're going to see it all the way through. Yep. So that's an important lesson. Yeah. It's really easy to be like, you know what, buddy, you're right. Let's just stop. You don't have to go tomorrow.
See, I really don't think I'm going to run into that issue, thankfully. Yeah. My stepdaughter is in cheer. So I guess I'm a cheer dad.
There you go. All right.
So, and they're badass. Like, they're like national championship, like this legit.
Yeah.
So there is no like quit. Like, they're practicing. I mean, like, they're big time. Like, this isn't some like just we'll dance around and they're kind of cute. No, it's going for like a national
the competitive shit. Yeah, because I remember we knew people growing up that we were friends with.
And that drive that she's gonna learn from that. And it's like,
absolutely,
I'm looking at that. I'm like, when you're old, you know how like you can use that in life.
Absolutely, and that's what I think. That's why I think sports and activities are so important to get your kids involved in. Right. Because I think sports actually kept us out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah, sure. Well, and like kind of how you just said a few seconds ago, was it sports or athletics or something that's physical teaches you to dig down deep for what's inside, right? Like, because I mean, there's always more in the tank. Like, I don't know many people. I mean, I've seen a few people actually pass out and like their bodies quit before their minds, but that's very, very rare. But
I mean,
like you gotta be a freaking animal.
We've all been there though, like with football or baseball or any type of sport. Like, they push you so far. Like, if it's a good coach, right? I mean, someone that's not going to make you want to quit, like some coaches,
right?
But, but like we've all been there where it's like you push so hard, and then you find that extra, just you dig deeper just to get past it and get through it, and like that. Like, we've all been to that point where like. Well, especially you guys being Marines, like that's they probably push you guys.
But that's
to
what I'm
the
saying,
brink.
though. It's like we've all been there to where in our heads.
Yeah, like, I
we're
can't do this.
I can't do this
do
anymore.
another-
And
I can't
guess
do it.
what?
You do it.
You finish it and you didn't die.
Yeah,
right.
maybe you throw up or something, but
Right.
you get through it. And how good does that feel?
It's amazing.
It's like,
and once you do that and you do that again,
Right,
and then
it becomes
you challenge
repetitive.
yourself again, like that's what's crazy.
but there are a lot of people that will quit.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Well, it's
the,
easy.
That's the breaking
It's the
point. They're
path
like,
of
you know what? I'm
least
done.
resistance.
I'm done. This is too much. But if you could get your child to just like have that mindset,
I don't
just
think
get
you
through
could
it.
lose in life with that.
Yeah,
mindset.
absolutely.
I mean,
you-
because if you're
If
down,
you're a fighter, and you're not going to quit, then
Right.
that's huge. And I think that I strive. That's like my goal is to get my kids to just have that mindset.
Right.
So hopefully they could see that, and hopefully you could give them that life lesson, and they take it all in. I think you do. And like we said before, like with my dad, like the way he used to talk to me about sports, like it wasn't good enough.
Right.
And like at times I'm like, wow, this sucks. Like I suck.
nothing I can do is gonna-
But like when you further in life though, you're like, man, that makes complete sense.
How
And
much
I
better did
appreciate
that make
Yeah,
me?
and I
Right.
appreciate that. So much more now as an adult. Like I'm like, damn, my parents were right the whole time.
yeah.
So I'm
Even
doing,
as, like,
this is amazing, like this conversation, because like I'm going through this shit right now. Like, so I'm doing this run, and I'm not a runner.
Right.
I'm going to
I don't
train
know.
you this weekend.
I am not a runner either. I cannot help you.
I hate
I
running.
am. If it's not completely noticeable, I am not a runner. The Marine Corps ran every mile that I had out of
Thank you.
me,
I say the
and
same thing.
no, thank
no
you.
interest in doing
I
it
am
anymore.
good on that.
But so I, for the daycare, and then for me personally too, like I decided to sign up, or really how it started was I wanted to be a corporate sponsor for it's called the 24 and 24. So my friend, she owns a gym in Concord, Anytime Fitness, and
right.
so she started this foundation. And it's for kids that just been dealt shitty hands in life,
Right.
terminally ill or life-threatening diseases,
Right.
and so they just got a lot of bad shit in their life, right? And so they partnered with a special wish, and so this thing. So originally, I was just going to be a corporate sponsor. I was going to write a check
Right.
and like be there to help out and support and raise some money, And she goes, "Well, most of our sponsors, like, they compete."
They run.
I'm like, "Yeah, but does everyone though?"
You know what, man?
She's like, "Well, yeah, kind of." I'm like, "Fuck,
Right.
fuck." But I kind of said to myself, okay, like number one, very healthy choice for me to like
sure.
do
Right.
something, right?
You signed
Like,
up for it. You
it's a
committed.
positive.
Right.
Right.
And it was like, if I do this, I'm going to see it through. And so I started training a couple weeks ago, which was late because I procrastinated and
Right.
all the
Well, you still
well,
got some
like,
time.
Corona shit happened, and it was
Yeah.
like, well, maybe it's not going to happen.
There's that hope that maybe it's going to get canceled this year.
Fuck, it's not getting canceled.
No, it's not
it's
getting
happening.
canceled.
It is happening.
So I'm like, all right, I gotta get off my ass and start training, right? And so for like 2 weeks now, I've been going 3 or 4 times a week. And so the other day I was getting ready to go for my run. I was stretching in the morning, and my son was up, and he's like, "What are you doing, Dad?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go for a run." He goes, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta do a lot of miles, and
Right.
I'm not anywhere near where I need to be."
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, that's cool, Dad." I'm like, "Why? You want to go with me?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't." And I'm like, but then he goes, "But good luck, Dad. I'm proud of you."
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, "What? Like,
awesome.
that's so
Yeah,
cool."
that's
So,
cool.
and like, dude, that was my best timed run since I've started. You know.
We get that motivation from your
yeah.
kids because, like, so for somebody who's making a lifestyle change, a lot of times, like, it's a kid that's like, hey, like, say a parent smokes, and it's like, hey, I really want you to quit smoking.
Yeah.
Like that for anybody should be enough
it's
for you to be like,
motivation.
okay, you know what, I'm done.
Right.
Right.
So or getting into shape,
Right.
or like wanting to be there for your kids. Like I think my goal it should be, it is, but like I need to be a little more conscious of it. Is I need to be alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Longevity.
Yeah, I need to be here for the kids, and like for you, the best thing you did was signing up for that, and then like, okay, now I have to do it.
Well, and
it-
you know
it
me, I like
changed
to
you.
talk.
Yeah.
I like to talk. So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this, And so now, and I think I do that consciously.
Yeah.
To say, all right, I've told a lot of people about
Right,
this
now I
shit.
gotta
now I'm
fucking
doing
do
it.
this.
I gotta fucking do it. Like,
That's
there
right.
is no excuse.
I think that's the best way to do anything is sign
Yeah.
up for it,
Right.
and then they're like, wow, now I got to
Yeah.
do it.
Exactly.
Now I'm committed and I have to do it.
My shin's fucking hurt though.
You got shin splints already, dude?
I don't know,
I get Shin
man.
Splints walking to the fridge.
Yeah.
I know
Shin
running is
splints are the
done.
fucking worst, man.
Yeah.
I got those in high school because we used to do so for baseball. We did conditioning inside because like Northeast
Right.
Ohio,
Yeah.
you're not getting outside
Right.
until late
Right.
April or May. So everything, all conditioning was inside. Shin splints, man. I had shin splints my senior year, and it was the worst. Oh, I had two torn patellas, and it was just a fucking nightmare. But that shin splints, man. When running, you got to go trail running for a while.
I've had them in the Marines. They're fucking.
And then you have no choice. But you just got to get through it, especially being in the Marines. Like it's like, oh, can I just get on can I get on a bike instead?
Right.
So
no, you're running.
I'll do one quick Marine Corps story.
Do it.
I was living in Oki, so I was up at Camp Schwab in Japan, and we very nearly had an international incident when a good buddy of mine at the time decided to get all fucked up out in town, and then crawl into somebody's house, like a local's house, and fall asleep on their couch, and then got arrested by the Japanese police. And it was like,
this isn't Jacksonville, North Carolina. They can't put you in this fucking.
No, this was bad, right? And he's underage, like all this, just not good situation. And so our XO was this, I don't know, like triathlon dude that was he was just a freak, you know. And so he said, I remember it was Sunday morning. He had to go get him out of jail. He gets the entire company up. And so Okinawa, the island is 38 miles around. Like what's that circumference? I get her, whatever. Yeah. The perimeter is 38 miles around. And we ran the whole fucking thing that day.
Fuck.
Damn.
Boots and utes. Like, and half of it's on beaches, half of it's climbing up the mountain. You know what I mean? Like, it was all day. It was like 20-something hours of running and people falling out. Like, I'm pretty sure he actually got in trouble because a lot of
especially
people
now,
fucking
if it was this day and age.
Yeah. And dude, by the way, like Okinawa, this was in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's like 115 degrees and 100% humidity.
Yeah, you're
like,
fucked every way you look at it.
Sucks.
Running on a beach, I've only had to do it once for baseball when I was in college, and it was
in like 12-pound boots and.
See, we weren't doing that. we were in was it Clearwater?
Okay, yeah.
And we played a triple header, and a few guys we went to a club. All right, so I was 19 at the time. We all got in this club, and everybody was drinking. One of them got in a fight, and we almost got arrested. And then so the cops brought everybody back to the coach's room. And he's like, all right, assholes, let's go. So we went down to the beach, and we ran sprints.
Right.
At like 2 a.m. And everybody was drunk.
Actually, sprinting on the beach is worse.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
When you're trying to go for speed, it's one thing just to like go at a little pace.
There's 2 lines, like go. And it's like, oh my God, man. So, but I can't even imagine what you guys had to go through. Like, that's easy running.
So, but like that's all I think about now. Like, I'll hit like mile 2 and I'll be like, dude, all right. Oh, I'm fucking gassed. Like, I could probably walk home by now and be fine. You know, I did some training for the day, and I'm like, dude, I did it before.
You've done it. You've done it.
Like,
man, dude, the cardio is just the absolute freaking worst, man.
God.
I would see what I would do when I was working out was I would lift for an hour, and then I would try to run for a quick, like, half hour if I could. I hate it, man. I hate it.
Even if it's on a machine, if it's like a treadmill,
a treadmill's freaking worse, man.
It is terrible.
I'll say the only thing that I would like, the only way I enjoy running is if it's trail running.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm going to do a trail tomorrow.
Yeah, different scenery, and like you're not focused on, we've talked about it before. It's like you're not focused on like your breathing or anything like that. Or like if you're fatigued, because you're focused on like
you're not looking at 8 minutes and 22 seconds.
No, you're just going and trying not to trip and sprain your ankle, especially now that we're old.
Yeah.
This he's a youngin'.
But I don't run. I'm still not running.
Hey, you get cardio out of lift.
Yeah, well, you can get more.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into something a little different here. So tell us about your stepdaughter.
Yeah, I'll go right into. I'm going to actually kind of start from the very, very beginning.
Absolutely.
Before she was even involved with me. I'm going to kind of go because I feel like I need to go there to really get this message across. So I went through a divorce. I am remarried, but I went through a divorce with my son's mother. I come from married parents, married grandparents. I mean, I'm coming on here with something that very, very, very few people know. I don't think my parents know. And if they did know, they did a hell of a job not letting me know that they were new. But going through the divorce, it was terrible for me. Of course, all I knew was married. I knew seeing my mom every day, seeing my dad every day.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was like to do the whole, okay, you'll see dad on these days, you'll see mom on these days. And that fucked me up.
Yeah.
So at the time, I wasn't doing, I always enjoyed working out. I wasn't doing anything with bodybuilding at the time. I was doing absolutely nothing, really,
Yeah.
except going to work. At the time, I worked at Morton Salt here at Underground.
Okay, yeah.
A salt mine. And I was just pretty much on the days I had him, I was normal. Life was normal. So everything was good. And the days I did not have him, I was a fucking raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to the point where it's like, would forget to eat. Just how I looked for a mask, I guess,
Yeah.
to put a Band-Aid on or whatever you want to call it. I would mask the situation. I'm big on finding good out of every negative situation because
Yeah.
you have to.
Yeah.
So the good in this situation, I live in Roaming Shores now. There's a bar there. It's right on the lake, pretty peaceful out in the country. One night I said, fuck it. You know what? I'm going there. It's where I used to live when I was married.
Yeah.
I wasn't anymore, but I'm like, I'm going there. I just want to be left alone and look at the lake and be around myself. Actually met my wife now that night. We didn't start dating right away or anything, but at least the good of it that I met her.
You met her, yeah.
Right. So a few months go by, still being an asshole, still living stupid like that. One day just woke up and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, this isn't you. Come on. Like, snap out of this shit. You know, you're going to lay down and die.
Yeah.
So I actually, at the time, I wanted to get back into bodybuilding. I wanted to do it full blown. I looked for coaches locally.
Yeah.
One place kept coming. Everyone's like, upgraded industries, upgraded industries, upgraded industries. I'm like, what the fuck is upgraded industries? And, you know, I know Menor pretty well, but it was a new gym at the time. So I reached out to DJ, set up an appointment, put diet, everything, you name it, joined the gym. Was like in love with the place. I'm like, oh, fuck, a bodybuilder's gym. And, you know, he was a monster at the time and bodybuilding and everything. So he really got me on a positive path again. So like meeting him is one of those things in life. It's like, okay, somebody was dropped here for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is the epitome of that. Like,
He's a good dude.
He's a great dude. And I'll get into
He's
even
been on
more.
the show.
Yeah.
You know
yeah,
that?
that's how I actually found out about
Oh, really?
the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So, you know, getting back into it, everything in life started improving again because I started self-improvement.
Yeah.
I was back into bodybuilding. I, you know, started dating, you know, my wife now and everything. And this was, you know, some time went by. From that, everything, like I said, improvement all around the boards, you know, in life. Just generally feeling good about myself and everything. Was getting ready for a bodybuilding show. And on July 3rd of 2018, and I remember it, I mean, I'm going to go through everything.
Okay.
So I remember it like yesterday, clearly. I have my son. We weren't living together at the time, me and my wife now. But I have my son, and I get a phone call that Dakota was just in an accident. I'm like, okay, you know, you don't think of the worst possible things.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let me know how she is. I get another phone call, say, to come to the location of the accident. I'm like, fuck, it's pretty bad. So here's me. At the time, I lived about a mile away from my grandparents. I dropped my son, who was still a baby at the time, off at my grandparents, and I was like, I got to go. I get another phone call, come to the hospital. And I'm like, fuck. So long story short, funny story, my ex-wife actually is a nurse at the emergency room at this hospital.
Okay.
So my first reaction was I called her, still cordial and everything like that. So I called her, and I'm tears. I mean, like, I know the severity of the situation. I was told they were pumping on her chest. I'm tears, 120 miles an hour down Route 90. Don't give a fuck about hoping that a state trooper pulls me over so he could follow me there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get that, and I'm calling her. She's like, oh, God, Jesus, or whatever. She's like, you know, see you when you get here. Just try to relax, be safe driving, whatever. I get there. I beat the ambulance there. I pretty much beat everybody there except my wife's best friend, who was a saving grace to me in this situation because she kind of got me to calm the fuck down. Went to the hospital. They got her in the trauma room. They're doing all kinds of work on her. I pretty much got saved from getting arrested that night from, you know, the cop. I'm like, let me in. I need to see, you know, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Cop was like, sir, you got to get out of here. Any person in that situation, I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Right.
Like, and here's me, you know, getting stupid with them and everything. But just not in a good, who would be?
Yeah,
in the right
absolutely.
mindset. So going from there, they actually life-flighted her to Rainbows downtown. Buddy of mine who came to the hospital He drove up to the hospital when he found out what was going on. He actually drove me and my wife to Rainbow, so I didn't have to drive because, of course, I would have went to NASCAR. You know, wasn't in the right mindset. We got there. She was being kept alive through life support at the time, and she actually passed. They took her off life support in the middle of the night on July 4th. So you talk about emotions. You talk about you're drained. You're dead inside. I mean, it's different. I've watched death before. I think pretty much a lot of people have. It's different when it's a child and a kid that you care about, that you love. Nothing compares to that feeling. Nothing, hopefully, will ever compare to how low that I actually felt at that time. So what do you do? I mean, we drove home. We wake up the next day. You hope that you wake up and it's all a bad dream. And it's not. And you just go into survival at that point. For me personally, I wanted to commit suicide. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. But I knew it never really came to that point because I knew I really have to be here because I am now the rock to keep this family together. So for months and months and months, that's what I had to be. Getting back to DJ, we used to do Saturday morning check-ins, like pictures, like, hey, how are you leaning out? Sure. I was getting ready for a show. He texted me, or I texted him. Really don't remember which one it was, but I texted him back, and I'm like, hey, man, sorry I didn't do the check-in. It was my first one. I'm pretty – if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I don't miss check-ins. I go, this is what happened. We just lost Dakota. He never met her, never met Tina, my wife. He's like, I got to do something. And I'm like, no, really, just I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend. I'll come to the gym, try to get my head clear soon. Wouldn't take no for an answer. Started a Facebook fund and everything, over 10 grand. I mean, within 48 hours, his outreach was just unreal. I mean, and I'm like looking at him, I'm like, dude, you didn't have to do any of that. And even more so than that, Upgraded Industries to me was the place to go because I couldn't show emotion at home because I did. 3 days afterward, I literally remember sliding down the wall and just tears, you name it. I seen how bad that actually made my wife. So I'm like, fuck, I got to bottle that shit in. I got to figure out another release. So I would go to UGI when I know she had other things to go. I would go to UGI and I would just put my headphones in, or even if it was, I'd talk to DJ for a little bit, and then I'm right back at it with the weights. And then the family atmosphere of that place, I started meeting people and the support that really wrapped around me and her, because she, like I said, she didn't know DJ. She actually met DJ clearly afterward. And now they're like siblings. So they're friggin', it's awesome. So getting back to that, I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I going to do? Because now we're like 5-6 months in. I still don't feel whole. I'm doing counseling at the VA. I'm having, it's nice to talk about things with a counselor, right? But I'm like, this isn't how I need to, release this shit. I have something built up that, I needed to find a release for. And my biggest thing, still my priority number one was you still got to be that same strength for your family. Absolutely. Because, and still to this day, she still cries. I still cry. It's not, you never ever,
can't imagine
it never gets
away.
any easier.
No.
It doesn't. It never gets any easier. There's always a slap in the face, punch in the gut memory. And like I said, that was July 4th, 2018. I pretty much shortly after that, after everything was, I don't want to say good, but more calmed down, and we were on our feet, I guess you could say. I pretty much said, okay, I am done doing anything I don't like to do ever again, because that's me and Dakota. We had a bond. We were inseparable. I spent a lot of time with her when Tina worked 2 jobs, and so I spent a lot of time with him, and that was my worry when I actually was meeting her was, okay, I know I'm good with the little ones. I have a baby.
Right.
this adolescent,
I'm familiar.
young adult,
Yeah, yeah.
this
Right,
like a girl. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna handle this, like, and actually end up being one of the best
Forgive me.
friends.
How old was she?
She was 14.
14.
Yeah. So, ended up becoming best friends, and like I said, inseparable. But she has such a inspirational. She just made everybody around light up, and and it's not just saying that as a father figure.
Yeah.
She literally, I mean, she was, like I said, a competitive cheerleader. They were the best, won the national championship, but she was like the heart and soul of everything she did. She was like that glow, just that inspiration. And so it really helped me to believe, like, I needed that. I've always been very confident. I've always believed in myself and bet on myself, but that was like the extra oomph that I needed. Like, stop doubting yourself.
Yeah.
Go the fuck in and bet on yourself and do something you love. And if you fail, at least you fucking went after it.
Yeah.
So I started Xtreme Physique Personal Training, named after Geneva Extreme, her cheerleading team. So that's where the name came from, same spelling and everything. So I wanted her on my shirt, keep her initials and everything. So I wanted her with me on every step of this, because I knew with her in the back of my head and, in my heart with this, I knew that, okay, motherfucker, you're going to make this shit work. And you're not only going to make it work, you're going to be the best at it.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty much how all this started. And that's where I want to go with this. And I think that's how I relate to a lot of my clients is I want to know your worst moments. Like, don't be afraid to tell me.
Yeah.
Or at least once you get to know me, let's talk about those fucking things. Let me see the real motivation that's behind you. Because last year when I was doing my prep for a bodybuilding show, I literally was willing to die if it came to that, to get to a certain level of conditioning. And that's stupid to say, because you're bad, you're good to nobody. But that was just my mindset. Like, I will die before I fucking fail at this. And now, more recently, this personal training thing's really blowing up for me here, and it's kind of cool because it's everything I had ever hoped for.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying, the best speech I've heard was, you got to view things like going into the jungle. If you go into the jungle, or being on the show like Naked Afraid, for instance, when you go in, you have nothing. You don't know what the fuck to expect, but you do know that something on the other side is what you're going for. For me, I view going in the jungle as, you got to release this inside of yourself, because it's weighing you down and you're helping a lot of people, but at the same time, you've never let go of all that bad shit from losing her that night. So for me, going in the jungle was, how many people can I inspire? How many people can I help? But at the same time, how can I help myself kind of release this, everything that's weighing me down?
Yeah.
Because I can't show this at home, or it makes everything worse. I have to be the strength, but at the same time, I have to be able to be the strength.
Yeah. You need that escape, man. When
It's a wild story, man.
It is.
So going back to saying, like, the jungle, when you go in, like I said in the speech, I heard it's the first thing that, what you run into, all the fucking bugs, mosquitoes, everything biting the shit out of you, and it's fucking you up. And it's like, it's annoying, but it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And that was me. That was all the negative comments. Like, even, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but everyone's like, you're fucking stupid. Play it safe. Get a job. What the fuck are you doing? Right. You're grown. You have kids. Stop trying to live this bodybuilding pipe dream and this personal trainer pipe dream. And, it sucks. Sure. It hurts your feelings. It's like, fuck you, dude. You don't know how much I love
that's
this
the
shit.
mosquitoes.
That's the biting. And that's just the insects. You get a little deeper in, you get bit by a fucking snake. And then you're like, oh, fuck. That one hurt. And sometimes it drops you to your knees. You're drudging through this shit. It's not a comfortable place to be.
Yeah.
But for me, I knew that I had to go to be uncomfortable to get to what I wanted, which was that release of everything, and to have everything I ever wanted through this. Like, for this to literally support my family, support myself, and to never have to worry about anything again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just going further, it's really, I guess it's an everyday process.
Sure.
But it's the mindset that I wake up with every day. It's like, not to be corny, but it's like that eye of the tiger mentality, where you have to go into something, and you have to have so much self-confidence, so much belief in your abilities. And this isn't just for me and my career. It's literally me getting through life now because of this tragedy. It's like, how do I keep myself not only from becoming a piece of shit because, I could have easily laid down.
Yeah, you could have.
And
And just
given
give
up
up
and
and-
said, fuck it. Life played me this hand of cards. My life is over. Your life is so much better than mine. But I would have failed everybody who depended on me.
Yeah.
And that's with being a dad again. I would have
Absolutely.
I would have failed the other kids.
You'd
I
feel-
would have failed Dakota just because she's, she would
Yeah,
never
she would
expect
never
me
let-
to lay,
yeah, to lay down.
like that.
So I didn't know the story before. I knew of the story, but
Right.
never heard it from you. So
Right.
that meant that I didn't know the story,
Yeah.
right? But we did some kind of talking back and forth when we were
Right.
talking about maybe doing the show and everything. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, all right, this dude knows what being a dad's about. But I didn't know why. You know
Right.
what I mean? Everyone's got
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
perspective on life. And so what I took out of that whole story was you took this tragedy and you did what every other human does and you got down, right?
Yeah,
Like you got down
absolutely.
for a little bit. And then like you kind of just described it as like getting back in the gym and doing bodybuilding, which is what really motivated you to like get your
Right.
release.
It was that
I
therapy.
think I would argue that getting your training business and being around other people and helping
Right.
people is really what your release was
Absolutely.
or is.
The bodybuilding was the stepping stone.
Right.
It was the physical release, and it was the stepping stone to be able to do the training.
Yeah.
And when I just say training, I don't mean just training like counting reps.
Right.
I'm looking at the bigger picture.
Right.
Like actually
Well,
getting,
like it's the
changing
life transformation
Right.
thing, right?
And getting, it's like, how many lives can I impact? Just short story. I would have never guessed. So I've been, I've been certified for 6+ years as certified. I've been doing it for here and there, never as serious as I do now, where I actually, invest all this time into this. Friends of mine that I went to from friggin' elementary school with they moved from out to Vegas and they got in contact with me. He was lifting some weights. He got up to about, wasn't 500 pounds, but he's a taller guy. He got up to pretty fucking heavy, like was going to die if he did not change his life. So he started getting the motivation to change his life. His wife at the time was overweight and they wanted to change their life. They had kids. These are people that I knew that actually, and they reached out to me for coaching. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll definitely help you get to your goals. Never really thinking in my head that I was doing that, like what I was doing for them was.
So they're
kind of,
still in Vegas?
no, they're actually in Florida now.
Well, but I mean at the time.
Yeah, at the
like,
time they
when
were in
it's-
Vegas.
okay.
So I'm doing everything
you're
via
here.
like texting.
Yeah.
Here's the nutrition. Let's follow this nutrition plan. Eat these foods. Do this workout routine.
Right.
Fast forward 2 years, they're down combined 300 pounds between the two.
Wow.
Complete lifestyle change. They moved to Florida, opened up a supplement store. So into the fitness scene now.
Yeah.
It's NXT, Next Level Supplements, in Daytona, and they're killing it. And it's because they have the right mindset.
Yeah.
But he said something that, I never told him that it was like, okay, it kind of took me back a little bit. But he said something that I've been able to tell DJ. And he's like, if I didn't meet you, or not meet me, because we've known each other for years, but if I didn't contact you, you literally, like, you saved my life. And to hear that, and especially, I would have never guessed when I got into this that it would be somebody that I've known for 20-something,
Right.
for years. And it's like, to me, it's a humbling experience because it's like, these are people that I cared about as a kids. And they have kids. We all have, we have kids. We're parents. And their life has severely improved and changed direction because of the guidance that I was able to
It's a powerful thing to be able to impact somebody's life.
And that's where I think, it gets my rocks off on this. It's like, I want to just, because that's what Dakota did. So
Yeah.
it's like she impacted people positively.
Yeah.
So the more people that, like I said, the more people I could touch to help, the better for
Yeah.
me. I mean, I'm never going to stop. I mean, I work harder now with way more clientele than I ever did, starting off. Like,
Yeah.
I invest way more time on the social media aspect of things.
It's digging down deep, right? It's
you
like you
have
don't
to.
know how much you have
Right.
until you get a little taste. You get a
And-
little taste of something, and, you're
and
like,
that's
oh
where,
shit,
that's
I
where
can
I'm
do
at
more.
now. So
And you have a why. You have
Right.
like you
That
kept
you
bringing
have
back.
to
You
have
have a
your
why,
why.
and so if Dakota's your why, and
Right.
like pulling on the energy that she gave you,
right.
and still gives you,
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
And I always say she lives through me.
Yeah,
like
that's
she might not be here with us, but she's fucking here.
Yeah,
like, her
that's
impact is here. And the thing I always tell my wife this, it's like, one day this will be big enough where you literally don't have to work, because she worked 2 jobs, being a single mother, and it's, that took away from her time with her kids. And to me, I'm like, I'm gonna do something I love to make sure your ass is home with these kids. And I'm getting there. And it's like, to see that, to have that taste of success, I think you think, okay, I acknowledge that this is happening, but there's so much more that I want.
Yeah.
There's, it's like I got that taste of success. It's like going back to the jungle. It's like, okay, you're comfortable in the jungle now.
Yeah.
Now I got to go kill that fucking tiger.
Yeah.
So it's like,
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, and a lot of what I like to do is people coach.
Right.
So I almost like when if I meet somebody and they're like, well, what do you do for a living? And yes, I own childcare centers, but really what I enjoy doing is working with these raw, talented girls that like care so much more about kids and people than like, it's just amazing, like how selfless they are, right? And so, but what I like to do now, and I'm very fortunate that we've been successful enough that I've been able to kind of take a step back and do what I like to do, and I try and build people, right? And so I love seeing them go to their potential, and whether that's obtaining a degree that they never thought that they would be able to do, or it's, something else in their personal life, whatever, that's what I like to do. And I actually go back to an old Marine Corps term, and I think it applies to running your own business or whatever, is slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? Like, so
Absolutely.
you're in the jungle, right?
Right.
And so the next step is to kill that tiger. Like, you're going to get there when you're supposed to get there, right? Like, you there's no shortcuts.
No,
like, just like in bodybuilding, just like in anything else, there's no shortcuts. You got to get there when you're supposed to get there.
Right.
And I think
you
that's,
have to put forth that work.
Because you got to put the work in.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no shortcuts when it comes. And that's life. I mean, and that's why I believe personal training and bodybuilding, in a way, it's life coaching, but it's my way of being able to have impact.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to be able to tell you how to build a fucking car. I'm a terrible mechanic.
Right.
So I build biceps. That's why it's like I could get you, if I can use the gym to give you the same release that it gives me. And I guess my goal is to make people that don't necessarily have it yet, that it hasn't clicked yet, but they see me and they're like, I want that. I want to have that mindset, that confidence that you could do whatever the fuck you set your mind to. And I'm like, you have it. It's my job to bring that shit out.
It's
and to
there.
show
Well, you're
you that
lucky
it's there.
too, like through all of this, you're lucky too that you have DJ as like a mentor
absolutely.
in that. Like,
And
I mean,
he's been not only, like I said, he's a best friend, he's a mentor, and he's become family.
Yeah.
And with this personal training thing, I've actually, I knew there was more opportunity outside of just Upgraded Industries, because he will always be the main attraction. It's his gym. He's fantastic. I know he transitioned more of MMA and stuff, but and I know that there's other trainers there. Everybody there is great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a trainer at UGI, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
But I also, there was a part of me missing, so I'm like, fuck. I love being in this area, but this isn't my home. Like, I'm back in Roaming Shores. I'm like, we don't have shit out that way. We're farmland. It's we don't have anything. Like Ashtabula County for fitness. So I actually got in contact. I knew a lady that I used to know from a previous gym. Her and her spouse own a small gym. They started up a cross training kind of I guess a do everything type of gym.
Yeah.
But it had that same family, get you better, we're all one unit, that tight knit feel.
Yeah.
So I went and checked it out, and I actually started working out there before I started training people out there. It's the Rock, Rome, Ohio cross training. Just a small, tight knit community gym. I started working out there because I'm like, okay, it's 5 minutes down the street from my house. It gives me whatever. Then I got to talking to the owner, and I'm like, okay, I'll start training clients one-on-one here. Then I started coaching classes there, doing nutrition programs there. And I'm like, fuck, I still want more. I got 2 gyms now. So Roaming Shores, it's a private homeowners association. It's like their own little community. It's like a little gated community.
Yeah.
But in Roaming Shores itself, there is no fitness whatsoever. So I'm like, okay. I put it on. We have like a fans of Roaming Shores. I'm like, who would be interested if I started a completely free, just to get back to the community, transformation program, a summer transformation program where we'll meet like once a week, do a beach workout. We have a nice beach there. It's amazing. I got like 56 comments. And I'm like, I was looking for like 6.
Yeah.
5, 6 people to help out. First workout, we had about 30-something people. And I'm like, holy
Damn.
shit.
That's cool.
This is awesome. So now I got that going on. So I'm at Upgraded, at UGI, at The Rock, and, doing my online training. I have clients in Vegas, Florida, I mean, you name it. And now I'm doing this beach transformation program. And I still want more. It's like, but it is fulfilled. It's like, okay, they haven't doing it in your home.
Yeah.
It's different.
That's cool though, because I mean, there's nothing there.
No,
and then you could offer that to all those people out there, so they don't have to drive an hour to go somewhere.
And I knew that I wanted to do this for free.
Yeah.
I wanted to make that difference, and to me, that was like, okay, I've touched a lot of lives with this. And it's humbling. I've touched a lot of lives. I want to do it at home. And I want to offer it completely free. And because I didn't want, and I thought about it. I was like, okay, I could charge like $25, $50. But then it's like, what about that single mom or that single dad who is literally, that $25 takes away from their kids?
Yeah.
And I thought of that. And I was like, I don't want that. I want everybody who's willing to put through the effort and the work. That's the only requirement.
All right. So I was right. Helping people is what gets you going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Because if it wasn't, you would get whatever you could out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You
'cause
could
it's
milk
time.
everything you can.
Time is fucking precious.
Fuck yeah.
Right?
And it's crazy because
But
like,
that right there, I mean, you're doing something because, like, yes, you are providing a service to your community.
right.
But you're getting more out of it than they are.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And that's
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely
That's wonderful. There's
But
nothing wrong with
and
that.
it's funny
No.
because it's like I say that, but at the same time, I'm like, if I take on a one-on-one client, I'm like,
It happens once an episode. At least
really
once.
does.
At least once.
but like with one-on-one clients, I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to devote my time to you. You're going to get my all, but I expect your all back because this is time away from my family.
Absolutely.
Right.
So it's like, but with the same sense, it's like I get the fulfillment,
Yeah.
but the part of my fulfillment is the success.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Do not go. I'm not a fucking babysitter. If you want that, go to Planet Fitness. Do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Walk through the motions. There's no walking through the motions with me, and that's where I said like everybody who stayed on my team, we all have that one team mindset, and it's cool as shit because it's like, okay, we're all. I literally have a whole entire team of motherfuckers, like grinders, willing to go after. Like if it came down to it, I know they're gonna be all right if shit hits a fan in their life because it's just the mindset that they've grown into. If they didn't have it from the start, they've grown into that mindset.
That's cool.
Yeah, man, you're changing lives though. That's
And
fucking
awesome.
amazing.
Well,
It's
and
the
that's
coolest
the
thing in the
epitome
world.
of being a dad, right? Like, so you can take what you've done as your kids grow older. You're going to have this experience of not only the typical dad experience of like watching your kids grow up and going every step of the way, but you've also got the experience of working with strangers and turning them into something and then turning them into friends and whatever. I think that's just an amazing experience that you can build upon as, because I mean, again, like we talk about this all the time. Like, Steve and I, so fortunate. Like we grew up together. Like my parents knew him just as well as they knew me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and same vice versa. You know what I mean? Like we had this little tight knit group. So like that's something that I think that we forget about is like when your kids have friends, you're responsible for them too.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and not in a ultimatum type of way.
It's just,
but if kids are going to be hanging out with you, you need to know who your kids are hanging out with,
Absolutely.
and you need to make sure that you're like the whole group, like that's what you signed up for, right?
Yeah.
And so like you're going to have that to fall back on is like all these other people that you've been able to impact and how you can do that moving forward.
Sure.
Right? That's pretty cool. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It's been a ride, man. It's
good.
been a fun, but there's so much more.
And you're
that
still a baby. I was going to say, you're still a baby.
so young,
There's
man.
so much more. I do eventually want to take my own personal bodybuilding to a little further level because that, I mean, in a way that allows my outreach to grow.
Sure.
So with my outreach growing, the more impact that I can make.
Slow, smooth is fast.
Absolutely. And that's what I tell. I mean, my whole motto of personal training and nutrition, it's consistency. There's the secret. You want the secret to getting in shape, getting healthy, be consistent.
Yeah.
Do the same shit day in, day out, change very little.
Yeah.
And you'll get there.
That's
There
right.
is no special diet. There is no special workout routine.
Consistency.
I mean, there's going to be, clearly each person, there's customized.
Well,
diet
absolutely.
plans, but it's like, there's no one size
that's
fit
just
all
it.
cookie
It's
cutter
customized
plan.
because-
and it's like, it's just consistency. It's so many people want this. If you want something, I want it now. It's the generation we're in now.
Absolutely.
It's like this need it now generation.
It's exactly what that is. Because
Yeah.
it's like, if I don't have instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
and that's-
Yep.
If you don't have the instant
Exactly.
gratification, I mean, we're complaining like if you're on a flight and your Wi-Fi is slow.
Oh, I
can't
get
watch
so
my-
pissed.
You know what I mean? Like it's like that's
It's inconvenience,
That's where we
yeah.
live right now.
Right.
Like the commercial pops up, you're like motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
commercial? Come on, man.
Have you ever seen the comedy skit that Louis C.K. does?
Oh, about the
Verizon?
yeah. He's like,
It's
it's
you're
in the
complaining-
satellites.
It's Verizon. It's like, if you're so fucking pissed off about it, go build your own satellite.
But it is.
But it's so true, though,
It's
man.
100% true. And it's that instant gratification mindset that actually I've lost clients over it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, they put
I'm not,
in the
I'm
work.
not seeing results right
Yeah.
away. It's like it's not going to
And
happen
even
like
if
that.
they are seeing slight results, they're not turning into like, okay, I want to look like Jay Cutler. Or I want to look like this bikini model.
Right.
Well, you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
It's
It
not
doesn't
going
happen
to take
fast.
6 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months. I mean, it could be, we're talking years.
Yeah.
And it's like of being consistent. That's not, not falling off, not doing anything.
And
to
it's
fuck
very
it
easy
up,
to
no
do.
injuries. Yeah.
Well, and again, kind of going back to the social media thing is people forget that nobody puts the shitty pictures of
Nope.
themselves on social media, right? You're always on vacation or
Yep.
you're always, oh, that angle looked really, really good or that filter
Right.
really made,
It's
my
the perception
whatever.
that you want people
Yeah,
to see.
you're
And
putting your
that's-
best foot forward, right?
Right.
And why wouldn't you? That's
Right.
human nature. I don't have a
I
problem
might
with
start
it.
a new trend and just post my kids always throwing temper tantrums. Just the
should.
worst angles
The
of myself.
truth of being
Yeah,
a
like you want
parent.
to see what life's like. This is life.
Yeah. But you know
I'm
what?
in.
I mean, here's the thing though, is like that people don't want to see that because you know what? I think on some level people want to be inspired.
Right.
Like you want to say, okay, like look, they're on vacation for I think that's the third time they went this year. What
Right.
what are they doing?
Yeah.
That,
But it's true though, because you look at people's social media and you're like, man, that looks amazing. Their neighborhood looks amazing. They're like their friends look amazing. Like everything they're doing
Yeah.
looks like so much fun. I'm
Well,
like,
But I think. Oh, go ahead.
Even in like you see like fitness models
Yeah.
or or whatever is even if they're working out, the videos that are taken usually are very set up.
Yeah.
Right? Like
for
like
sure.
you'll throw like 225 on the bar and just like pump out a big set and like that's not your working set.
Right.
Like you're doing that for the camera. I'm not
Right.
saying you. I'm
No,
not saying
yeah.
you've ever
No,
done that. I'm just saying
everybody,
like
yeah.
But it's true,
like
though, and-
that's what people do. They're not showing their actual
And I
work.
think that's what when I said at the beginning, that's the problem where the sport of bodybuilding or even just the fitness world industry in general has went to shit is everybody's doing it for the gram or doing
Yeah,
stuff for
right.
Instagram. Nobody can just go to the gym anymore and shut the fuck up and not tag it on 12 social medias
Right.
and leg day or
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's the one thing that's like, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but like if I ever went to the gym or anything, if I'm working out, I would never post like just got back from the
Right.
gym.
Yeah.
You're
there.
like, it's like I get in there, do it, and then I'm
and
done.
it's doing it with intent. You're there for a purpose.
Yeah.
It is
Like,
not for
Nobody
fucking
gives a shit that
social-
I'm doing
Exactly.
that. Like when it comes down to it, like you know what I put on social media besides like our Talking Dad stuff is pictures of my kids.
Yeah. That's pretty much
I don't post news. I don't post.
I thought you said nudes.
I'm gonna start once I get on a program with
All right,
him.
Devil's advocate once again though is I would argue like that like there's part of it and it can get out of hand, but if posting yourself at the gym gets you some positive reinforcement
Absolutely.
from people
Well, yeah,
and
absolutely.
that keeps
And
you
that keeps
going,
you
like
going. Right.
I'm all
That
for that.
works for people.
And I've done that with clients. Like there are clients that I've had, but like I've realized I can't. It's almost like the slap tickle approach,
Yeah,
like in
yeah,
the Marines.
yeah.
It's like, okay, you got to try harder, but okay, you've made some progress.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
pat yourself on the
Right.
back. And there are people that you have to be a little more sensitive with because that's
Absolutely.
how they.
Some
that's-
people like you're a pretty secure with yourself
Yeah.
person. Like, yes, you don't need to
No, but,
post
but
yourself
people
at
do
the
though.
gym.
It's like going back to being a parent. Like you have to give them that gratification. Like, wow, you're doing a great job.
Right.
I'm proud of you.
Right.
You're like, wow, you're at the gym. Good for you. That's awesome. Like I'm on my
Yeah.
Peloton. I'm posting like my
Right.
progress on
Right.
that. That's awesome. And I mean, I'm not trying to talk anybody.
No.
I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. That's what works for
Right.
them. Then
Right.
that's amazing. And I mean, that's great. It's like that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if that works, then that's
Right.
that's fine. But that's not what I like to do.
Well, but so like to your point, like I'm glad that like you don't, because you don't need that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
like
and-
that wouldn't do much for
I
you.
feel like there's a
anything for me.
difference to doing it like for that reason too, or doing it for like the sexual social media attention. You
Sure.
see more of the ass pictures,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
the booty
they-
thigh,
like all the
like that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh my God.
that's
Somebody
pure
didn't rack the weights.
you
Like, yeah,
you
that's
did it
not what the
fucking-
focus
you've
of the
done
picture.
glutes six times. this
exactly.
week.
Yeah, they didn't rack the weights, but in the mirror, your ass is sticking out, and you just
That's what
Yeah, that's
irritates
annoying.
me.
Yeah,
It's like,
for sure.
okay, we get the fucking
yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
We
It's-
got it.
Yeah, and that's where I get irritated.
But hey, man, people are shallow. Whatever. Like,
That's what
if
it is.
that's
What
what
it
gets
is.
you off, great.
That's fine.
Good
That's
for
fine.
you.
It's
Right.
but, whatever.
But yeah, that is interesting.
it is funny though how that
But
goes.
that's the culture, right? Like
It
that's
is.
That's this generation.
Until-
Well, it's everything. It's like someone's showing a picture of like, oh, look at the kids are getting into trouble again, but they show like a wide angle picture of how beautiful their house
Right.
is. It's like, where's
It's
your
this-
kid? Oh, it's that
it's
tiny
all
little thing in the corner. Oh, there it
they're
is.
throwing a Lego. Oh, cool, man.
Oh my god, my kid's made a mess again. Where are your
But
kids?
look at my pool.
Yeah, look how amazing my house looks.
Right. No, but I mean, yeah.
But that's what works for people.
People want to brag, and
Hey.
people want to get that like that high from. Oh my God, like 130 people liked my picture,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and like to a point, we do that. We all do it
Absolutely. It's-
to whether
why-
it's
why
in
are
your
you
group
not-
of friends or like because like we have a side text, with a
Well, yeah,
couple
absolutely.
guys, and we're like, dude, my kid did this, and like we'll like brag to each other, right?
Yeah, just like we're fucking around. It's just it's
it's
all
just
fun.
a scale, right?
See,
like it's
I can understand that, but at the same time, leading into like the fitness way with my clients, like I tell them, be the best version of you
Yeah.
that you could be. Don't look at a picture of some genetic freak like a Jay Cutler or something and be like, hey, I want to look, or the classic is make me look like this guy or make me look like this girl. Well, your bone structure is different. Well, I'll make you the best version of yourself
Right.
that you
Yeah.
could be. But that's where it's when people start comparing themselves to other people who are the genetic elite, who are loaded up on
And that could go in
performance
all
drugs.
walks of life too. Like if just anything in general, like, oh man, this person's got this job, this house, this everything. It's
Right.
like, let's do what's best for you, what's going to work
Right.
for you. And
if
like,
you focus
the best
on
of yourself, yeah,
you're gonna get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
If you focus all of your energy and it's negative energy on what you don't have, or
not
what
gonna get
somebody
anywhere.
else have, no, you're never gonna make.
you're just going to sit there and be
progress.
miserable.
And that's like you said, that's life in general.
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna be fucking
And that-
miserable.
So it could work on two different levels with social media. It could either make you depressed and be like, man, my
Right.
life is miserable, or it could give you that motivation
Yeah.
to be like, that's what I want and that's what I'm going to go get.
Right.
So I mean, it could work.
it can work both ways,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
There's positives in it.
It's the greatest tool, and it's also the
Yeah.
tool that it
can be very
there's,
negative.
There's no happy medium there. It's
Right.
like it's one side or the other.
Well, and that trickles down to kids too, like stuff that's not realistic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, man, I wish my parents had that, or I wish I had that. I'm not that good, and that's why you see. And this is gonna go even deeper, but it's like kids like suicide rates because they're not happy with themselves because of what they see on social media or
Right.
TV or YouTube or what have you. I mean, that's why that could be negative.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But if you-
exactly why we're here, right? Though, like,
Yeah, to try to
There's this whole thing about, our generation is probably the first that fatherhood has been like not a secondary thought, right? Like, and maybe that's overstating it a little bit because like our dads were great, and
Right.
it sounds like you had a good child. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah, absolutely.
but like it wasn't like it wasn't their jobs, right? Like my dad's awesome,
Yeah.
but like he was always working,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he made any time that he could, he would stay up after working a 24-hour shift and go to my games, and,
Right.
and shit like that. I recognize that,
Yep.
but at the same time, like he wasn't always there for my advice because he was fucking working, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think as dads, though, that's what that's what fucks us up. It's like, no matter what, we're doing it for our kids, for our
Right,
families.
100%,
Whether
yeah.
it's working the overtime, working 2 jobs, whatever it is. But it's like, how do you explain? You know, I'm not there, but I'm doing this for you.
But it's for you. But
give you a better life.
you don't. And then we go back to what we said earlier. It's like, as a kid, you don't see that.
These are
As you get older, and it means everything because as you get older, then that makes you a better parent. It makes you a better person.
When
because
you
like,
live
my
through
dad
it
actually,
as a parent, you're like, oh,
okay, now I get it.
And again, kind of going back to it, is like that's part of this show is like, all right, let's reach those dads that like think that, oh man, like now I can't do anything but work and be a dad because I have a kid on the way. And it's like that's not true. Like you can do all of these things. You just have to figure out how that balance.
You just have to balance
in
everything,
your
yeah.
life.
I'll even go one step further than that. I am a much better person in general, period. And I will accomplish way more because of the fact that
It's extra motivation.
100%.
Not everybody has that mindset, but if you could find that and you could realize, like, okay, big picture here.
Right.
The biggest, most important thing is being a provider, being a parent, and raising a good human.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. And I mean, there are a lot of people that aren't like that, or maybe they just don't realize it.
Right.
And like Ian said, that's the point of our show. That's the point of what we do. And it helps us too, because when we could come here and have this type of conversation with somebody different every week and be like, man, it takes you back and makes you take a step back and realize what the big picture is and how petty shit doesn't matter. And you just got to push that aside and just look at what's important and just take care of your family and your kids. And
well, and again, going back to the social media, like the image that you portray, right? Like, I don't ever want to lie or be fake, right? Like we talk about all the time, like the bullshit that, I fucked up with my kids or whatever. But the reality is this show makes me want to do better.
For sure.
So that way, when I'm talking to you on a Friday night, once my kids are asleep and everything, I don't have to lie to you and say, yeah, man, my kid did this or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to lie because it's in my head all week. And so that's what, like, selfishly is amazing about this show.
Yeah, and to be honest with you guys and myself is be like, okay, my kid was a pain in the ass today. I'm losing my mind, and you're not alone.
Right. Dude, we text each other all the time.
Yeah,
we're like, dude, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
You can talk each other off the ledge a little bit and be like, hey, man, my kid's doing the same exact thing. And, like, when you could talk to another parent and just be like, okay, my kid's doing this, and they can just be like, that's exactly what my kid's doing. I'm like, well, thank God. I'm not on an island here. I'm not alone in this, and my kid is crazy.
Dude, almost every guest that we've ever had, we keep in contact with, and we, like, dude, you're not gonna believe what my kid did.
Yeah,
like, I gotta share this with
man.
you. Like, and it's not like a public thing.
Right.
It's a text or it's a DM, and like,
it's that
like,
bond
dude,
that you built.
We built amazing relationships.
I need you to talk
this.
me off the ledge here. Like, my kid's being such an asshole right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever. And like,
you can be like,
and
hey,
that
man,
shit happens.
my kid's doing the same thing, dude. You're not alone. You're okay. You're not doing anything wrong. And you know what? I'm not doing anything wrong because you're going through the same shit. And it's a good feeling. It's therapeutic to sit here and have these conversations. Because I mean,
but again,
without
like
it,
30 years ago, dads weren't doing this. You know?
no, I mean, shit.
And
2 years ago, when
You're
we
fucking
decided,
weak if you try to do something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, I'm a pussy because I'm sitting here talking about this.
Right.
Like,
Shut up,
so
go
it's all
clean your
macho.
room.
Yeah, exactly. Go have a drink. All right. So I mean, we can do this as fathers and sit and have a drink together and be able to just vent and actually have a real conversation.
Because again, you can dig down deep and there's always more, right? Like you can have a business, you can excel in your career, you can be a good husband, you can have a little bit of a personal life, and you can be a good dad.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and you can be an amazing, you know what I mean? Like, you can
absolutely.
do all of it.
You can. If you could just, like I said, dig down deep and find it and be like, okay, hey, I got to rally
got a
here.
priority.
Yeah.
You
As
gotta
my
have
priority is
priorities.
this. I have to rally here and be like, I have to be an amazing person, father, husband, for these next 3 hours while the kids are still awake when I get home from work.
Right.
I have to just put it together for this, and then you know what? Hey, 9 o'clock, whatever time it may be, I'll sit down and relax.
Yeah.
And by the way, it doesn't mean that things don't change.
No,
Like,
yeah.
Our buddy Tommy was in here earlier before the show started.
yeah.
He was just hanging out, you know. And he's like, yeah, man, we're going to go head over to the bar, whatever. And he's like, you guys should come over. And I'm like, yeah, no. And that's okay.
Right.
You know, trust me, if we didn't have a show booked tonight and I had free time, I would love to go meet him for a drink, whatever.
Sure.
But
it doesn't change anything. We're still going to be...
We're doing this thing, and I don't know. It's just...
I wouldn't
the
change it for the world.
Excuses out there need to stop, and that's kind of what we're trying to do from a fatherhood perspective. Is get rid of the excuse that, like, I have too many things going on in my life to be a dad. Like, we talk to people that have their own business. We have talked to people that are on the, this huge sales team. We have people that, God, we cops, and we've had, you know what I mean? Like every walks of life almost at this point. And it's like everyone can do it.
Yep.
Some are easier, some are harder.
It's anything in life.
We're doing it,
You
right?
got to prioritize, and you just go make it happen.
Yeah.
If you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And everybody should want to be the best parent.
It's there.
It should be number one priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're molding, the future.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Molding a
yours.
good human and just trying to make them.
Right.
Like I said, we're responsible for these kids to make them
Right.
the future.
Yeah.
And that's the number one goal.
Talking about like that's the goal of this show. And that's why I reached out to you guys and wanted to come out here, because whether it's a father who's in a situation like, I was in, I hope nobody is or has to go in that situation, but even something smaller, but like, okay, my kid's got an illness. It's pretty serious. I want dads to know, like, there is no quit.
Right.
You still have to be a dad.
Yeah.
You still have to be a husband. Whatever title
the
you
title
are,
doesn't go away.
You don't just get to lay down and fucking die.
I mean, and I'll be quick with this because we've talked about it. Like my youngest was in the hospital, and he was at a point where he wasn't going to survive. And same thing. Like I was furious, and I didn't want to show that in front of my family and my wife. So I would always find my spot in the hospital where I would go cry and punch a wall or just scream or something. But at the same time, I had my 2-year-old son at home that I had to go home and be a parent to. Like I couldn't just give up. I couldn't just be like, okay, well, this is what's going on. I'm losing my fucking mind, and my infant child is going to die. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Right. So I could just give up and go home and be a piece of shit. Yeah. But no, I have to go home and be business as usual with my other son and with my wife and my family.
I think it's easier to lay down and die.
It is.
I think it's easier, but you got to find that. You have.
Well, that's definitely the path of least resistance, right?
It is. It's easy to do, man. I was there.
And here's the thing, especially today, no one like I was there. I knew exactly what he was going through. Nobody would have thought any lesser of Steve if he was just miserable. I mean, and you were miserable. I get that. But if you were just like shut down.
Yeah.
Didn't go to work anymore, because you could have.
I could have. I had the option to.
Your job gave you the opportunity. I mean, you work for an awesome company that hey, take as much time as you need. You could have not gone to work.
Yeah,
you could have not spent all your time at the hospital at 70% of those other rooms.
Yeah. Oh my God, man, that place is the
saddest fucking thing ever. But you could have done all that, but no, you stepped the fuck up, and again, that's what this whole thing is about. You had people around you that gave a shit, and not that that was everything, but
I had the support of friends and family, my company that I work for, the doctors and nurses and everything. I could have given up. I could have.
And no one would have thought.
No, everyone I get it, and I had the option to do it. I had the option to just go home and be miserable. Yeah. But I would still go to work, and then I would be with my son at night, put him to bed, and then I would go. After I put him to bed, I went straight down to the hospital, spend the night there, wake up at 5 a.m, go to work, and so I mean, I just try to keep normal, just try to keep some type of normalcy and be a family person, and not show my wife that I had to be strong for her. Yeah.
And I mean,
she was extremely strong. I'll give her all the credit in the world. Amazing
you guys
mom.
are both great.
And
that shit sucked.
Oh, it was terrible, man. It was the biggest fucking nightmare.
Time out. Congrats to badass Benny B, man.
Yeah, my son Ben, he's so he had a heart condition, and he had a bunch of problems, and he was intubated for a long time, so he had a lot of problems with development, and so his swallowing was he had to take thickener. We had to put thickener in all of his drinks all the time,
right?
And actually, to yesterday, went for a swallow study and everything, and he graduated from having to use thickener, and he's now able to drink just regular fluids.
It's awesome.
And it's
the
amazing. The asthma's
too?
gone. He had asthma problems, and he's already done with that. The kid is just,
not that he hasn't been a normal little a-hole 2-year-old child for the last while, but he's good, man. That's awesome.
And
sorry, I don't know if you want to bring it.
No, absolutely. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of it, and they told us from day one, they're like, he's a really tough kid. He's very feisty. They're like, he's gonna be a problem. But they're like, if he wasn't,
you're doing that, man.
That's right. Damn straight. I had to sit by his bed every single night. And
I believe that.
There was a situation. I would talk to him every night. And there was days where like, yeah, he's not going to make it. Like there was days where everything was just shutting down, and I would sit next to his bed crying and talking to him, and I couldn't hold him.
Yeah,
we couldn't hold him.
You weren't allowed to touch him.
We couldn't touch him. So I would sit there and I would pat his, like, cause he would cry. So this is another terrible thing. When he would cry, there was no sound. He had no voice. So he was like screaming, but there was no sound.
Right.
And like the only way to calm him down is we had to sit there and just I would just pat the bed.
Right.
And just talk to him and and I would calm him down. And those nights were like, they were really bad nights, and I would sit there and talk to him, and they're like, just keep talking to him. Like when you're talking to him, his numbers are increasing. Everything's looking a lot better. I would sit there till 3 a.m. and just sitting there and talking to him.
Yeah.
And I think that really did.
I do.
I think that got him through a lot, and the kid's just a fighter. The
now little shit just throws firecrackers at me.
See, yeah, it's true, man. Those little pops. 4th of July, he's running at E, and he just throws pops at him, and his
the most diabolical laugh.
The kid is a little hellion, man, and I'll get past this quick. But like he's got, like his scars. Like this kid has got. Looks like he's got like 4 belly buttons. He's got like the huge zipper scar. He's got a huge scar on his back from all the different surgeries and everything. And I'm like, I always worry about him. I always worry about how brutal kids are. I think about like, man, is he going to get bullied or picked on? But my goal is with him is I always want him to be proud of what he has.
Absolutely.
I want to be like, dude, you're a fucking badass.
Yeah.
You cheated death. He's a miracle.
Right.
Like the doctors at the hospital said, like, he's a miracle. Like he shouldn't have made it through this. They've never seen this. These doctors
awesome.
like never seen that before. So like for him to get through it, I want him to always be proud of like, hey man, you're a badass.
Yeah.
Those scars make you a badass.
He will be.
He's a tough kid. So
That's fucking awesome.
So I'm sorry, I didn't want to get into it. Because we've gotten into it several times.
I've always wondered, and not wondered, like, hey, I want to experience it. Of course not. But I've always wondered when I've heard of people in situations like that, is it worse for what we went through when it's so quick and unexpected, or is it worse when there's problems where it's drawn out as a terminal illness? And when I see that or see parents go through that, I always in my mind wonder, I'm like, well, how can I reach them to help? Because maybe their situation's worse, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, there's and that's where I will say, I went through a hard time, and it was a couple months, and then like problems later, like throughout the whole thing. But at the same time, we're extremely lucky. Yeah. Not just because he survived, but just because there's way worse things. Mm. There's kids there that have way worse problems. There's kids that aren't going to survive.
It's all perspective.
It is.
Right?
It is.
You got to bring the negative.
Yeah.
The positive from the negative.
Absolutely. And I have to see it, and there's a light, and it's like, hey man, you know what? Yeah, he was handed a shitty card, handed shitty cards, but like, you know what? He's okay. He could have had a lot worse problems.
Yeah.
And for those parents, like Nick Ora was on here. Mm-hmm. His son had a heart condition as well, and he still has issues. Like he won't be able to play sports. And he still has the heart conditions. Like my son's very lucky where his heart's fine.
Right. It's like your back is up against the fucking wall. Your life is taken from you before it even really gets.
Absolutely. But what the best thing about all that is? He'll never remember any of it. And actually, what hit me really hard was my parents, and my in-laws too. Like, it's really hard for you as a parent, like, to go through that with your son. But like my parents said, they're like, it was very hard for us to watch our kid go through that. Like, watch my son go through what you did. And like, that hit me a lot. Like, as my parents, like, man, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, I mean, think about
that's my parents are my parents. Like,
you don't want to see your kid be hurt.
No, I mean, it killed us to watch it. Exactly. Like, for what you went through, like, and that for what we went through, it doesn't really compare because, Dakota's no longer with you, but she's still with you though. Like, she's your motivation and everything. She's on your sleeve. Yep. Like, that's. I mean,
I remember a time I literally sat on my parents. I would go with my son to my parents because I just knew, my wife needed some time to not just to catch her breath.
Yeah.
So I knew when I would get my son that I wouldn't always bring him around. I knew what she needed. She needed to have her time and whatever. So I'd bring my son down and hang out with him, at my parents' house. And I remember I just sat on their kitchen table and just tears.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, for like my mom and dad were both there, and then like they don't know what to say. You don't know, I can't imagine what their outlook. I mean, it's your kid. You have no way to help.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could say.
It's so hard to say anything that's going to help. It is. And it's killing your parents, too.
I guess.
And as a parent, I couldn't imagine, being in that situation.
For sure.
It's like...
Earlier, like after dinner tonight, I'm just going to lighten the mood a little bit.
Absolutely, because we're going down there. We're going down the path.
But like my wife, so there was one cookie left, and like I told him like I'm trying to quit. So, but like my daughter had this cookie and she wanted it, and so my wife like breaks it in half to split with her, and she fucking starts bawling her eyes out because she broke the cookie in half. She wanted it whole.
Right.
Well, naturally, yeah.
And like I was like, "You're fine, don't worry about it." I'm like, "That was so mean." Like, like I didn't want my daughter to be crying over that.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, "You're gonna make her a freaking bitch." And I'm
Right.
like, "You're right. I gotta stop." But like,
Right.
I can't imagine like seeing my kids actually hurt.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it sucks.
that
It
made
sucks.
me upset. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, man. Like to see
And like
your
I
child.
was kind of joking just to like jab at my wife, but
Yeah.
at the same
But still,
time,
you don't like to see that.
yeah,
With anything.
Yeah.
And that's the awesome thing about being a parent, but the toughest thing about being a parent is watching them go through things that they have
that's
to go
a hard
through.
thing to do to let them.
But you
get
know
hurt.
they have to go.
Yeah,
through
because
it.
they do.
Everybody goes through
you
those
can't you
moments.
can't shield your kids. You can't just keep them away from all that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to let them go through this.
And that's
the hard
what
times.
builds their actual character.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you can't be a
mold
little
their
spoiled little
values.
shit and
Right.
like, oh, it sucks that you can't get your toy that you want, and you're gonna cry and scream all you want, but like this is a lesson. You're not going to always get what you want. I'm like,
Right.
hey man, you know what? I want to win the lottery.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. You're
Right.
not getting this fucking toy.
Right. Yeah.
So I get on my mom and dad, well, more so my mom. I get on her ass about my son and everything. I'm like, Mom, stop.
Yeah.
Well,
you're
the
making-
grandparents
They're
are like-
supposed to
I'm like,
spoil
God,
them.
come
Yeah.
on. I'm
Yeah.
like, damn it. I'm trying to get these values.
I know. That's why I'll be at my mom's house and I'll be talking like with the kids and I'm yelling at my son for doing something. She's like, he's fine. Let's give him to him. I'm like, Mom, you are not helping me, and you're making me feel like an asshole, and making me
Now
look like
I'm
a
the
real
bad
bad guy.
guy.
Exactly. She's like, here, Sam. I'm like, really?
Right.
She's like, he's fine. He's
It's
a good
so
boy.
funny. It's like that's the conundrum, right? Like you work your ass off,
Yeah.
to provide a better life,
Right.
right? It's like that's what we do, right? Like whether it was even before you had kids, like at least for me, I know it was always like I need to put myself in a position that like when I have kids, I don't have to live in the 2-bedroom 1-bath house,
Right.
that like sucked and
Yeah.
everything. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to do better.
Yeah.
And then you have kids, and you're like, all right, well, I've done a little bit, but like my kids are in a much better spot at 3 and 5 years old than I was. But now they're going to be assholes because they have everything given to them, and I'm like, no, this is bullshit. Like you gotta,
Yeah. It's like, let's take a step back here.
I just personal experience. I had a great childhood, like literally the best. But if there's one thing that I could have go back and change, it'd probably be I really didn't have to work for shit. Going into the Marines changed that for me, and then going through some tough life experiences. Really, I found my way.
Yeah.
I found out who I was going through life experiences.
Yeah.
The negative, and that's where I say, with everything we do, good or bad, you remember how something makes you feel.
For sure.
Right.
So it's like if you went through a shitty time or had a shitty job, shitty boss, anything, the worst possible thing you can go through, losing a child, you remember how you feel.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily remember the details and the stupid shit all the time, but if it impacts you, good or bad, you're going to remember how you felt.
For sure.
And
Everyone's
that's what's
got a
going to be
different
the
path.
learning
Yeah.
experience.
for
from all
sure.
that.
and that's the key is like
Yeah.
taking those moments and saying, okay, here's what happened. Here's how I felt.
Right.
How do I either replicate,
Right.
or make sure that I
And
don't replicate?
That's where I knew with Dakota in her accident, I was like, you have to eat this.
Yeah.
You can't drink. You can't go do drugs. You can't do anything to escape.
Yeah.
No masks on this.
Yeah.
You're going to sit here and you're going to take the punches, and you have to go through this, because if you don't, you're never going to get through it.
Right.
You're never going to heal. You're never going to.
I believe that's
and
true.
you have
too.
to, and I did, and it's taken 2 years. We just had the 4th of July. We just held a big high intensity interval. I do hit
Yeah,
classes
that looked
at
like
Saturday.
that was intense. You had a
UGI.
big show out.
We had a memorial last year. We did. We brought her cheerleading team in for a workout, so it was cool as hell. It was like a memorial workout, And then this year we weren't going to do one with all the shit going on. But
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it. DJ was like, fuck it, let's just do it. So we did it on the 4th. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want every detail perfect because this is my chance to, like, you know, do something for her. It's a memorial. I walked in the gym. I seen the amount of people there to support just for the situation.
Yeah.
And I lost it. I had to walk out of the gym. I collected myself, got my composure. And to me, this goes back to, like, you know, the helping people and, like, it helping me more. Doing what I love to do, bringing the intensity to that class. I mean, the intensity was unlike anything. The energy in that room was unlike anything I've seen before. And as soon as we finished, we actually have a picture of me. I'm hugging my wife and I'm losing it. Everything that needed to come out that I wasn't able, like, I would try to cry and it wouldn't come out. Everything that I needed to get out came out in that moment.
Yeah.
And so later on, as the day went by, I went home, I passed out, you know, I'm like mentally drained.
Yeah.
I wake up, house full of people. I'm like, cool, food, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try to make the best out of this shitty day. And later in the evening, I'm thinking about it. And I'm trying to, like, think pretty deeply. I'm like, I think you turned a chapter today. It's like last year you couldn't because your focus was on, you know, my focus was on Tina. It was like, it had to be. It was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
This year it was like that HIIT class. What DJ was able to give me by allowing me to do that, that was like that big turning the chapter.
Yeah.
And where it's like, it's now turning to healing. You're allowed to heal now.
Good.
And it was like that moment right then and there. It was almost like weird because I always wondered, will I ever know when I'm healed or when I'm healing? And in that moment, I'm like, you're healing.
Yeah, that's
like,
it.
This is now, and that's when I knew, like, after the 4th, like, I got home and then, you know, the next day I go, it's time. It's time to roll with this extreme physique training because it's like you've now reached that point where you don't have, of course it still weighs on you.
Absolutely.
Of course. Emotions, but it's like you're at that point now where it's like you could turn it all into positive.
Absolutely. And she's never going to leave you. She's always with you. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, you're turning the page on it.
Yeah.
In the next chapter, but you're making positive of it.
It was like,
but the book's
I didn't
not
know.
over.
Yeah.
I didn't know how, and that was my thing. Like, I would cry a little bit, but I never had my moment where I fucking just went ape shit, lost it, except that one time 3 days after. And when I noticed that made everything worse, I think it like sent a shockwave to me. It was like, you can't do that. You just fucked your whole family by doing that. And they don't look at it that way. And she's told me that all the time. She's like, you need to be able to let go. Don't worry about me. You know, but it's the caring person inside you.
It's a thing of like a man too. It's like you feel like, okay, I can't show the emotion,
right?
So you keep it bottled up,
right?
But when you actually could release it like that, and it's the most,
and it was a positive release. It wasn't like a oh my god. It was a holy shit. I just put everything I had into this class. That all this energy was literally because of Dakota. And it was like that positive release where it was like, it's gone.
Yeah.
You the weight is lifted, heal and fucking let's go do this thing.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I'm almost glad that we didn't get to do our show a few months ago.
I am too.
You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Like, we were supposed to do it
right after it's fresh.
You were supposed to be the
March.
show right after they shut everything down.
Right. Yeah.
It was like the next day. They shut everything down on a Thursday night. And we were supposed to be a Friday or Saturday of that weekend. Yeah. And I was like, dude,
this has grown.
I'm sorry, man.
Big time since.
So I'm glad that, like, and again,
it worked out.
The path happens for a reason, right?
For sure.
That's amazing. Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
One of the things we like to do is a proud dad moment, and so I already know that you have a million of them, but like something. So I don't know if you're super familiar. It can either be proud of your son or your daughter or, you know, whatever, or it could be proud of yourself for doing something. And I think,
really
or your wife,
we're
like,
really
you know
gonna
what I mean?
lighten the
Like,
mood.
all right, cool.
So it's a proud dad moment. What do you do? You know, it's going back to Dakota. What do you do when boys are around at that age group? You got to either scare them or you got to embarrass the shit out of her.
Okay.
So I knew the kids. They were good kids from down the street. And I've got to know them, you know, over some time. So I knew they were good kids. They, you know, they didn't have bad intentions or they were, you know, they're good kids from good families. So I would always try to fuck with her and embarrass her. So I go, all right, I got it. I walked outside in the garage, and I came out from the bedroom in like cowboy boots, American flag boxer briefs, in a sequence cowboy hat that she had on when she was like 5. And I start that yee Earl Dibbles Jr. like dip in, and I'm like, hey, y'all, you're from America, yee. And I went out and I was like, oh, y'all want to go outside and try to run this shit? Okay. So I went outside, still doing that voice. A van literally stops outside, probably thinking, what the fuck is this doing? I was like, hey, y'all want to join? And I just embarrassed the shit
that's awesome.
out of her, which I actually just put up pictures. So I mean, leading that. So I told my wife the other day, I said, to promote this hit class, I've got to do something to like kind of honor that moment.
Yeah.
So my son's got this tank, like it's like one of those battery powered, like,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Jeeps.
yeah.
But I put it up on my social media.
I saw
went
it.
out
Yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
and fucking
Yeah, I saw
American
that.
flag boxer briefs, had put the white claws for America on it, and had the fucking, it was that moment. And it is. It's one of those moments I'll never forget because it brought laughter to everybody. But it's one of those moments like you're like, okay.
That's awesome.
You don't always have to be like dad role.
Right.
It's
Like,
like
have fun, man.
you have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like having kids is the most fun thing
Absolutely.
in the world. And you don't ever know it. I mean, unless you actually are living
Yeah,
it.
you could always be real serious, like you
Right.
said, but it's like to have that fun.
Yeah, and I mean that's
Enjoy it.
It's one of those. It's just, it lives with me all the time, that memory, because it's like you've never seen, not only her but just everybody around. My wife, those kids, the kids down the street, everybody was crying, laughing,
Yeah.
and it's like one stupid idea just went
I
that
can't wait to
far.
embarrass
Oh,
my
I
kids.
know.
Like my kids aren't embarrassed of me yet,
Oh, it's
which
gonna
is
happen.
nice, I guess.
I can't wait for my dad jokes.
Oh,
the
yeah.
stupid ass shit that I'm gonna say.
Well, it's like another one too. And I met her boyfriend for the first time. This kid was scared to death to come over the house, and he's a great kid. I've remained in contact with him. He comes and plays Madden. He gets his ass whooped. But, he comes over and he's a great kid. And he's became an EMT and everything. And first time he came over, he was nervous. He was like, he dropped her off. And he's seen the Marine Corps plates I had. And then he was looking at me or whatever because I was like moving sand or something for a sandbox. He's like, that fucker kind of looks like Conor McGregor or something with that beard and shit.
Yeah, you look
and
like an
he
intimidating
was
guy.
nervous, but he didn't get out. What kind of irritated me, I was like, he just dropped you off and didn't come introduce himself. I'm like, oh, motherfucker, you're on the shit list now. So the time he actually was playing baseball and he went to one of his games, and he dropped her off, and he came in, and very well-mannered kid and just great kid. But I kind of fucked with him a little bit at first. I'm like, too good to come say hi and shit. But it's like those moments, like I was the only child of the guy, but I remember meeting like girlfriends in school, like their dads trying to play that role.
Yep.
And I never understood. I'm like, really? You gotta look like a dickhead,
Right.
And then
But
in
it's
that
so
moment,
true.
You
Like,
absolutely
think
do.
about
in
that,
that
man.
moment,
You have to.
being in that situation, I was like, okay.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I get
man.
it now.
and it's like
Okay.
all the nostalgic dad things that are out
Oh, yeah.
there. That like those are my pride moments. Like I bought.
Dude,
my
you're
wife,
fucking like glowing right now.
Yeah,
You're
oh,
super
fuck.
fucking proud.
My wife, she's gonna kill me for this shit because I'm gonna buy them again anyway. But I was like, all right, I need some Air Monarchs, and she was like, you're not allowed to get Air Monarchs. I'm like, I'll one up you. I got 2-strap Feelers. Came home one day and 2-strap Feelers. But it's
Amazing.
like shit like that. It's like just
It's fun,
nostalgia.
man.
Yeah,
You wanna
it's
have
gotta
fun
have
with it.
fun with it. I mean,
I think
embrace
one of the reasons that I love doing the show is like dad culture is becoming a thing,
Yeah,
right?
it's fun.
it's
Yeah.
popular.
Right. It's getting more and more popular.
Right.
And while sometimes I'm like, all right, well, like we're more than just like a prop to
Yeah.
say, but the recognition and I think it's going to get more guys to take being a father seriously, which I think at the end of
you
the
have
day
fun.
is
Yeah.
so much more important
Right.
than like, all right, yeah, we're just making fun of dad
Being
shoes.
a
You know what I
good
mean?
dad is popular again.
Right,
It's,
which
it's
is
and
good.
it is.
There's-
because-
It's very important.
Our
Yeah.
kids are going to benefit from it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I love kind of being a part of it, right? And so, but yeah, like it's just so much fun.
Right.
You know what's funny though? How fun would it be to, like when we were younger, when you have to call a girl, calling a house
Do
phone.
you remember that, dude?
House phone.
Dude, just sweating, like, please, I hope she picks up, and it's always the dad.
Always,
Hello?
Dad.
Hi, is Jessica here? Who's this? Steve. It's like, all right, hold on. Dad. Like, just like, they'll never have
She's
that.
already on the phone, by
Yeah.
the way, like in her room or
Yeah, she
whatever.
picked up,
and,
but Dad had to
and then
pick
you're
up.
waiting to hear the click of the other
Right.
phone hanging
You're
up.
like, shit.
Oh,
Wait, how
man.
old are you?
I'll be 29 in August.
He's 6 years younger.
So do you
than us.
remember house phones?
Oh yeah, fuck
Okay,
yeah. I had
yeah.
to, my mom had like in her
Yeah.
room. It was like one of those
Yeah.
spin
Oh, yeah,
rotary
that's not that
phones.
good.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Man, because I mean, like,
but it-
text messaging and like just everything
Yeah.
now, it's like, man.
Like in high school, even like there was no like a few people had cell phones.
yeah,
Right.
I had a cell
know?
phone, but you couldn't text anybody.
Right. There was definitely no
It's like
texting.
cheap flip phone.
Yeah, exactly. I had a
shit,
flip phone.
wire,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. You pull the antenna up.
Yeah.
The StarTAC. Remember the StarTAC?
Oh yeah, man.
But
flip phone.
going back to that, it was a respect thing. To
Oh, for sure.
dads, to dads. I mean, it was like, you know, and
Hey man, if there's one thing that I always did, it was like the dropping off, or like I wouldn't sit in the driveway and beep for her to come out.
Oh,
I would go to
yeah.
the door,
Absolutely.
introduce myself, and it's like that goes back to my dad. My dad
Right.
was always like, be polite.
Right.
You know, just go and don't be an asshole.
Well,
And a dad's gonna a girl's dad's gonna notice if you're
I
an asshole. And
always
he's not gonna want you around.
remembered that I was representing my family
Right.
when I met other
For sure.
people.
Right.
You know
That's
what I
a
mean?
good thing to tell your kids. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you're not just representing yourself; you're representing your family.
Yeah.
See,
Me,
and being a girl dad, like is different. Like I said,
Oh,
I
yeah.
grew up an only child. I didn't have sisters. So with like the girls, like with Zoe and with Dakota, I used to tell Dakota this. Clearly, she was dating at the, that beginning dating stage, not serious, whatever. But I would tell her, if he doesn't open the door for you, walk right into the motherfucker. Exact words. I have the text message. So walk right into the motherfucker. Tell him he's not the one. Call me. I'll come pick you up. Because I'm like, that respect thing.
Sure.
It's like, it's
absolutely.
you gotta. So that's how I try to teach like Zoe and stuff. It's like,
This is that old
it's-
school. I mean, but it means a lot. Though.
As a dad, everyone's like, okay, you could teach your son things, but you could teach your daughter the same things.
Absolutely.
You could teach like
100%.
what to look
What
for.
to look for, like,
exactly.
yeah.
So it's not like, okay, this is how I teach my son how to treat people. This is teach your daughter.
Teach your
look
daughter
for
what to look for,
this.
yeah.
It's like, don't look for that piece of shit over there.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. I think a good thing that Ian's dad has said to us several times is like, an asshole. You drop an asshole off, an asshole's going to answer the door.
right.
The dad is representing, or the
Right.
kid's representing
That's
his
what I
father.
always used to say about being a cop. He's like, if he picks up an asshole on the street and
Yeah.
instead of taking him to jail, he takes him home, 9 times out of 10,
Right.
an asshole opens the door.
Yeah,
And it's like, you are a representation of
your parents.
your parents.
It's-
And
And you'll
so-
know,
Direct
you'll know
reflection.
if you're like if it's the parents are
100%.
calling and they're like, "Where the fuck
Right.
you did what?" So
Right.
like
yeah,
you
or
know
it's like,
who's-
all right, get in here, whatever. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing in the world.
It's
Being
a
a
lot of
dad,
fun.
being a parent, it's the coolest
like
thing. in the
I
world.
don't want to fast forward anything like with
Keeps
the
it on
kids.
your toes.
I want to like enjoy
Yeah.
everything right now when they're young.
Right.
But man, it'll be fun when they
Oh,
can
I
embarrass
can't wait
them.
to embarrass my kids.
But yes, I would love to slow the clock down a little
it's
bit and
fun.
just let them be toddlers.
I feel
for
like
the
I want to
longest time.
embarrass my son more than I want to embarrass my daughter.
I've got so
Like
many
the daughter,
stories.
my daughter seems easy, right?
Right.
Like
You're
bring a
easy to-
boyfriend home.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I can,
Yeah,
I can do
whatever.
that. Like
But
that's
the
classic,
boy,
and I'm
man.
excited for that. But I am excited to for the first girl to come over and just
Right.
make her go the fuck away because she is just so mortified.
My dad, that's our best memories to look back on are the embarrassing shit that my
Yeah.
dad's done. Like he came, I was like 10th grade and he came outside and I wasn't driving yet or whatever. I was like 14, 15 and he came outside. It was like 10 at night. I had a bunch of girls over, a couple guy friends or whatever. Thought I was the shit.
Yeah.
He opens the fucking man door for the garage, shakes a fucking pan of corn dogs, and was like, "Anybody want any corn dogs?" And I'm looking at him like, "Dad,
Amazing.
shut the fuck, get back your fucking." But laughed our ass off.
Oh,
Still
that's
laugh to this
amazing.
day. I mean, just stuff like
See,
that.
that's the kind of stuff, man.
That's amazing.
That's fun.
It's oh my god. Oh, it
It's
never
amazing.
ends.
Yeah. Things to look forward to.
It is things to look forward to, right? For the last couple months, we've had every opportunity in the world to complain about all this lockdown bullshit and how it's affected us. And yes, I've gone on record a couple times. It's minor inconveniences, but they are inconveniences.
Absolutely
There's no denying that it's been
It's
inconvenient.
stressful
as
going to
shit.
the grocery store anymore.
Right.
You don't know who's going to piss you off.
Right, right.
Yep. Or who you're going to piss off by not doing what they want you to do.
And so it's very
That's
easy
me
to
every
like
day.
get down and be like, oh, this shit sucks. Like
Yeah.
I look at people without kids and they're like, yeah, my life really didn't change that much. And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, well,
Well,
fuck you,
mine
because
did.
you know.
And I think that's that's another reason that this training thing to me, it's like right now, everybody's in a poor mindset. Everybody's it's fucking
Absolutely.
sucks.
I lost everything that I had, like as far as
You got
my,
skinny as shit.
I did. I lost a lot. Like I lost my muscle weight and
Right.
everything. I lost like 12 to 15 pounds.
Right.
But I feel miserable.
Well, that was our argument with the gyms.
Yeah.
It was like, these are fucking therapeutic places.
Absolutely, because people needed it. So you're taking away a lot from people.
Right.
Because I mean, when you're stuck and you can't do anything, you can't go do what you usually do.
There's
a
no
there's a lot of
release.
depression going on for a lot of people.
And that was my worry with the younger group. I'm like, you guys want suicide to go up?
Well,
It's
here's
true,
the other
man.
thing, and I by no means do I really want to go down this path, but I'll just leave it at this. All the fucking riots and everything, I don't care where you stand on it.
Right.
All of that, you don't think that a lot of that was due in part to pent up
fuck,
aggression
yeah,
and not
absolutely.
being able to release
Right.
any of those
you
hormones?
look at a lot of these kids that are out there.
It's stuck inside
They
playing
had
fucking
nothing-
video games.
They had nothing. They weren't at school. They
They're stuck
they
inside
couldn't go
playing video
anywhere. So
games
it's like,
for
hey,
3 months.
I'm gonna bust out and go do something
Right.
stupid.
Could you imagine your senior year of high school ending like that? Like,
No.
you don't even get a goodbye to your fucking
Right.
friends.
No.
There's people that I cared about I haven't seen in 10 years. You know,
Yeah,
it's
right.
like they don't get that goodbye. They didn't get that
Think
send-off.
about like your last week of high school. Your last
Dude, we had a blast.
Right,
oh,
you just-
Jesus
yeah,
Christ, we had an amazing time. But like your last time walking through the hallways at your school. You know, like your last
never knew.
baseball game, your last whatever.
That's what's messed up is you didn't know.
You never, yeah,
You
they
didn't
never
Like
know.
we
knew.
at least knew, and like
Yeah.
it was like weird,
It's
like
coming to an
hitting
end.
the field for the last time,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
hitting the lunchroom, whatever it
or,
was.
or like your friends are going away.
you
and,
knew it.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah, we had a going away party.
we had going
you know,
we had all
we
the
had
graduation parties.
Yeah.
Everybody's graduation parties. Like
Yeah,
that was the
that
best
sucks.
summer, man. And
That
like
was an awesome summer.
and they didn't have that. So these kids
Well,
are all locked up, and then all
My
of a
summer
sudden,
very
boom.
quickly sucked, but
Well, yours went pretty quick.
yeah.
When did you leave? It was in
July
July
13th.
Yeah, yours is quick, man. But that
Fuck,
party before
sand fleas and heat.
that party before you left though.
That was an awesome party. I was hurting at what do they call it? MEPS?
Yeah.
Dude,
That's just terrible.
and I'll get over this quick, but like just thinking of high school, my go-to thing was like whenever we had a party like that, I'd be like, all right, if I was done, I'm like, I'm gonna take a piss. And that was always I'm going to bed.
Right.
Because I'm gonna go find the best spot to sleep.
Right.
You guys are good, right? I'm gonna go take a piss real quick. And I
Well,
would
you
just
were a
sneak off.
vet though, because you had older brothers to learn off.
Oh
of.
yeah, man. I had to.
My dumbass would just keep drinking.
Yeah, like, and the next thing you know, you're sleeping on a fireplace or on a picnic table
in the pool.
Yeah.
Remember I tried to sleep in the pool?
Yeah. Oh god,
that
man, I
could've
can
been
go into
bad.
the stories. I remember the one time we tried to get you to walk across Witterman's pool. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you walk across that blue platform over there. Like, all
Yeah,
right,
because I
man.
was the asshole. If you challenged me to do something,
He's
I
gonna
would
do
do
it.
it.
He's gonna do it. I can walk across that.
I do think we're gonna see a withstanding effect on this year alone. There's gonna be
Well, here's
just
what I'm
fucked
thankful
a lot of
for.
people.
It has, and I hope that, especially for the kids, like adults, I'm not as worried
Yeah,
about.
right.
Like,
Kids though, man.
listen, adults, like, yes, it's been a rough couple months,
Right.
but
We can figure it
you
out.
should be able to figure it
Yeah,
out.
you should,
Bounce back.
absolutely.
Kids, I give them a little bit more leniency
Right.
because they don't know any better,
Right.
and they're dealing with something that they don't have control over. I mean, we don't have control either, but a lot of their decisions they
Yep.
don't have any control over.
Well, even like being like 17, 18, you're going into college. You're going.
Yeah,
You might
that's
not get to do
probably
it.
the
Yeah,
toughest
it's like
group.
it's like you don't know where the fuck you're supposed to go now. Like your whole plan, and anybody that's actually went and didn't change their major and stuck with what they want to do, credit to them
Right.
for knowing what they wanted at 17.
that transition
18 years
alone
old.
is very difficult.
Yeah, and
but then-
if you have to throw all this shit, or like you're getting, now what? You can't
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to this university, or you can't do that. So like, this isn't just having a minor impact on that group.
Sure. Yeah.
It's fuck, life changing.
it is really, man. It's
But here's the good thing: is so far it seems like schools are going to come back.
Right.
So if at the end of the day, if we can minimize it to an extended summer break,
Right.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
you start going past that, and it's
Yeah,
going
you
to be
can't.
really,
you,
really
you
difficult.
have to open it up. You have to just open it all up and just
Right.
get it back to normal, because it's the only thing that's going to fix anything.
Yeah.
Because and not just for the kids, parents are going to need schools.
Yeah.
Bad. I
This
mean, we
whole
need
2 days
daycare.
a week
Yeah,
that they're
man.
talking.
No, that's not going to work. It's not realistic. You can't. That affects people's jobs.
They laid the guidelines out for my stepdaughter's school, and I'm at the point where like homeschool, fuck them. Like,
Are they only
homeschool.
doing 2 days a week?
I don't know the days, but they were doing a lot of stuff online. Recess, there's no recess. Lunch is very minimal, like eating in the classroom.
Yeah, they're doing it in the classroom.
And you have
yeah.
to do, like you have to stand in a boxed area or like sit in a boxed area. Dude. I'm like, fuck you. And all the social implications that's going to have. So I'm like, homeschool, whatever.
It's so tough, man. Another thing is, like, I don't want to fast forward anything, but get past this fucking year of just
really
ridiculousness. Because I mean,
Right, what the fuck is you're almost afraid to ask
I
what's
want-
next, Godzilla?
right.
I honestly think there's gonna be some alien shit. Like I watched Independence Day the other day. I'm like, I'm not gonna be surprised.
I told a trainer at the gym that they're probably looking at us and like, fuck no, keep driving.
Yep.
Those motherfuckers
Yeah.
are
Seriously,
too
man.
far gone.
Right.
This is fucked
I
up.
really, more than anything, want to be able to look back and remember this year and be like, all right, ain't that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And to be fair,
Right.
I cannot complain at all. Like,
Hey, man.
business took a little bit of a hit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, from a personal standpoint, the only thing that's really changed for me is that I spend a lot more time with my kids. And if I'm going to complain about that, I got more problems.
Yeah.
than-
So now that I'm back
you know
to
what I
normal on
mean?
my regular schedule, I'm not spending as much time with them, and things are difficult because I can't find places to send my kids. But during that whole quarantine where we were home, and I was home for half days, dude, I loved it. Man.
Right. The first 2 weeks were fucking like great. You're like,
Oh yeah, but it was
It's like
great
a
because
vacation on life.
I was still working, but I was doing half days, and like
Yeah.
I would leave at 12:30 every morning.
Right.
You did have an
11:30.
awesome schedule.
And my wife was home with the kids, and I come home at 5, and we have food. The kids are already there. I don't have to go pick anybody up. Like,
Right.
I mean, we had such a good time. Like, I'm like, damn, that was I actually made like a slideshow of like all the fun shit we did.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll never forget this time because I got to spend that time with my kids, and that was awesome. Spend the time
We're
with my
pretty
wife.
lucky that our kids were at really a good age
For sure.
for something like this.
because
to happen.
because like imagine having teenagers. Like,
Yeah.
it's
teenagers
difficult, man.
would be tough.
Yeah, and that, I actually, speaking on that, which I don't get involved in local politics. I don't do any of that town hall meetings. I hate all that shit. But I actually went to our local like meeting with the mayor, and I was like, I stood up and spoke, and I'm like, you can't have these kids. Like they went to the point where they were like, okay, you can't play basketball on the basketball courts.
Yeah.
You can't do shit. You can't go. And I'm like, 15, 16 years old, this is what you live for. You want these kids killing themselves? Because it started happening.
Or going out and doing shit and just
or,
like
yeah, exactly.
acting
doing
out.
stupid shit.
because they're bored.
And it's like, what do you guys got to have some fucking leeway with this to the point where it's like, you can't let the solution be worse than the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
Agreed. Well, we could go down this road for a long
yeah,
time.
it's fucking getting hot over here. It's like,
Let's just fast forward to our last little portion of the show here where we do a dad hack. Do you have a dad hack? Do you know what I mean by that?
what do you mean?
Okay, so like a trick that you have with your kids, like something that works for you. Like Ian's is
All right,
like
mine's a
classic
good one.
misdirection.
Misdirection. So like my 4-year-old, he's a classic 4-year-old boy. Like he gets into what he loves, the superheroes, he loves his turtles and all that kind of shit. So he'll be playing with his action figures or whatever it is. I'll be like, dude, it's time for bed. Or I'll say it's like it's time to get ready for dinner. And he just like I'm not even in the room. You know what I mean? Like he is focused on whatever scene he's playing out. And so my misdirection move, I was like, hey!
Right.
And so that's like the Marine Corps thing,
Right.
you know, and he'll just like look up. And now that I have his attention, I'm like, all right, go touch the front door, come back, do 10 push-ups, then go touch the side door, come back, give me 5 jumping jacks. And like, I'll just do this like impossible task.
Right.
And like, he gets excited because it's a challenge.
Right.
And so he'll stop what he's doing. He'll go touch the front door and he'll come back and he'll do his push-ups. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? And I'll be like, do this. And then he's like, all right, now what? I'm like, now go wash your hands. It's time for dinner. And like, so now I've gotten to get him to do the task that I originally wanted him to do rather than just yell at him for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
All right. Why aren't you in here yet?
How many times do I have to tell you?
We're eating.
So I started doing that because like, I was always like, how many times do I have to tell you? My wife's like, he's 2.
Right.
Like, well, he understands English, doesn't he?
Yeah,
like,
I know. But yeah, then you have to realize, I'm working with a 2-year-old
Right.
or a 4-year-old.
And so,
or now
but I
5-year-old.
have. I've been doing this for like 2 years, and now it's almost like next level because he like relishes it. He's like, all right, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I can make these challenges a little bit harder now.
You're
you
writing
know?
this shit out. Like
Yeah,
the night
yeah.
before.
All right, get outside, mow the lawn.
I can't do this.
All right, get outside, wash my car, mow the lawn.
But it is good because he still he will if he now it's he's playing his Nintendo or he's he works on his like baseball stuff and I'm like, dude, it's time to come in.
Yeah. He's got his just the classic
it's just
misdirection.
misdirection.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had one, it'd be similar to that, but not to the extent where I have it planned like that. Like with Tristan, like Zoe, eating. You wouldn't think fucking eating is a task.
Oh,
like
it is.
I mean, it's like, can you eat? And with Tristan, it's always like, okay, Tristan, you're never gonna get big, because it's always his thing is when I'm bigger, when I'm older.
Yeah.
So it's like that's just a little trick, but I mean that's only for eating. I mean
That's a mind game though. Yeah, like
it's.
I mean, I guess I kind of do that too. I mean, you can hit the button on that. Dad hack. But that's actually a really good one because I do that all the time. Like we'll be eating and it'll be like, I don't know, one of my favorite things to make because I don't really cook very well. But I'll do like chicken, steamed broccoli, and rice. But like I zhuzh it up, And he'll be like, Dad, I don't like broccoli. I'm like, yeah, but you need to grow. Like you're a skinny little dude right now. You're a peanut. And so he'll eat like one piece of broccoli and he'll be like, dude, feel my muscles now.
Right. That's
like,
Tristan's
I don't want to be like, that's not how it works. But like, also.
It works to.
I'll pump him up. Like, I'll be like,
right.
I'll get him in the mood. I'll be like, Tristan, flex. And he'll hit the front double bicep flex or whatever that I've taught him since birth. And it's like, and he'll do it. And I'm like, okay, you got to get bigger. You want to be bigger like that, or you want to be, bigger just in general. You got to eat more.
Yeah.
It's like, and the kid is like, I've never met, try to make him hot dog, macaroni and cheese, normal kid shit.
Yeah.
No interest. You put chicken, rice, turkey, rice, beef, rice, fruit in front of this kid, egg whites. And I'm looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong? Did I really ruin you already like this? That's what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's always like, and I think that's part of me being that time alone with him at such a young age.
So he sees that you're
he
doing
ate
it.
prep food.
Yeah.
It was like bodybuilding prep food. And I'm like, okay, you want a bite? Here you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, even now that it's like, okay, damn, you still remember that. Like
That's
those
cool,
times
yeah.
it's like,
And they do though.
Yeah.
I mean, when they first started eating, like I know, like my kids, they both like avocado because it's a really easy thing.
That was
to
the first
start
thing we get them
kids
into.
on, like
soft,
4 months old,
yeah.
3 months old, whatever. I don't remember how that works now, but they love avocado, and I make them meat and guac. So
Yeah, like my kids actually love vegetables,
right.
But it's great though because like the same thing. Like every time they both eat, like Sam will eat his green beans like tonight for example. He's like he'll eat them. He's like, Dad, look, I ate all my green beans, and he'll just sit there and flex on me like for 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, you're getting huge, man.
Right.
And he's a big kid like as it is. Like he's a tall kid. He weighs like he's not chubby or anything. Like he's just like a thick. Like he's just solid.
Right.
But like it's funny to watch him because
he's 3 times as thick as Gibbs, but has abs. He's a 4-year-old that literally has abs like a freaking. It's crazy.
Send him my way in about 10
Yeah,
Mr. Olympia.
He's got the build for it.
He's got that power
He's like,
booty.
Yeah.
See, I didn't have shit like that. Like
Yeah,
I had there's no genetics.
I was a
like,
scrawny
what the
kid, man.
fuck?
I was a skinny, like I didn't put any weight on until I was like in my
Dude, I'm
mid-20s.
telling you, Sam's got the frame, man.
He
He's
does.
a big boy.
He does. Like,
And this is where part of like not getting totally off topic, but into my job, I'm always telling people, like people that have actually had trainers before, I'm like, do not always go to the person who has always been in shape or has always been ripped or big, because they honestly don't have a clue why. They can't literally tell you why, because that's all they know.
Yeah.
Any kind of stimulation to the muscle, anything they eat nutritionally.
We have a friend like
never
that.
had to make an attempt. I know plenty. It pisses me off.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Our
That
buddy
dude does
Arco,
calf raises and his biceps swell
yeah, like
up.
So we had one of our friends. Like I'd work out with him, and like it takes me a while to start building up, and then he does 2 weeks in the gym, and he's just a monster.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, it's not even fair.
Yeah,
I lift the same amount as him. Like we lift the same. Everything. The workout's exactly the same, but he just gets huge.
He doesn't do anything with diet. Like it doesn't matter.
And he's the human rain delay is what we call him.
Yeah.
With everything.
Yeah.
And like, so I'd be lifting with him. I'm like, dude, I got to get to work soon. I'm like, you got to move. I'm yelling at him constantly. He's like, you're the worst partner. He's like, you're always yelling at me. I'm like, dude, because we need to move. Like we need to get this shit going. And he's so lazy in the gym, but he's just always
genetically amazing.
Yeah,
and
genetically.
that's part of like even getting off topic again, like social media. It's like don't ever let yourself get discouraged. Use it positive. Don't get discouraged by what somebody else looks like because either A, they've put in the work to get there, or B, they're just fucking genetic freaks.
Yeah, they're blessed. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're never gonna look like that.
Dude, me and that dude used to go to the gym when we lived together, and it was like I don't know, a 7-minute drive to the gym. But there was a McDonald's on the way.
Yep.
He would always make me drive through McDonald's. He would get a Big Mac, smoke 2 cigarettes, and chug a Mountain Dew on the way to the gym in 7 minutes.
And he's just fine.
And then, and I'm sitting there. I'm like,
see, and that's a part of like eating.
I mean, granted, we were a lot younger.
Yeah, we were early
now
20s.
I have like acid reflux and shit.
Yeah, I feel sick if I eat like that now.
Yeah, if I eat something bad,
yeah,
I
wouldn't want to be in my bathroom.
Oh God, man, I'm with you on that. All right, well, I think we touched on a lot of awesome shit here.
We covered a lot of good
shit, man.
Had a blast.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man.
Me out.
Absolutely, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like I said, make the best out of every situation.
Yeah,
there's no matter what dark situation you're in. That's my message to people.
100%. Yeah, love that.
Pull yourself out. Find a fucking way.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Love that, man. And you want to go ahead?
Yep, I was gonna say plug your handles, plug your business.
Yeah.
Anything you want to do for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look me up on Instagram, it's just Xtreme Physique Personal Training. Xtreme is spelled with an X. There's no
Stand up, show them your shirt.
Same thing.
There you go.
See it?
Yep.
Same thing on Facebook. I don't have a website. I really don't think I need one, to be honest with you. Social media does enough.
Yeah.
That's the best way you can contact me, or stop into UGI or The Rock, and let's get going.
Yes, sir. I'm motivated.
Yeah, me too. Mark, thanks so much, dude. Very much more than I even hoped for.
Right.
Yeah,
when we
for
first started talking and everything.
Cool.
So thank you so much, and we'll definitely do it again.
Cool. Absolutely.
As we continue this thing. So appreciate your support. Definitely gonna make sure that we can try and help anyone out there that can use your services, and whether that's personal training or just getting to know you, whatever. That's what we're all here for.
That's the thing too. Don't just reach out if it's just for personal training. I mean, if you're going through a tough situation and you just need somebody who's been through some shit to talk to, hit me up. I'm not
absolutely.
I don't turn anybody away.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not. It's just not in me. I mean,
Right.
I'm all about. I know what I've been through, and there's been people who's been through much worse. But I've known, like I said, I remember the way I felt.
Yeah.
And if I could help any way, shape, or form pull you out of that shit, please.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate that, man. You're very motivational. You're inspiration with all that. So we appreciate that, man. So it's awesome. And like I said, I feel motivated. Like I'm like, you know what? I need to get myself going again.
Right.
Like I've been saying it for weeks, but I'm like, I'll just. The alarm goes off at 5. I'm like, nah. I got 2 hours. It is Monday, but I'm not doing it this Monday. Right. Diet starts next Monday.
I actually have a shirt with a donut that says "Diet starts tomorrow." So.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I need that. That's my thing. I always joke about that at work. We get donuts like every now and then. We'll get donuts. Somebody will bring them in, and I'll be like,
pictures of the best donuts.
Oh, the donuts are amazing. We get, and I'm like, and I always joke in the office like it's such a dad joke. Oh, diet starts Monday. I literally say it every time the donuts sit down on my desk. I'm like, yeah, diet starts Monday.
Like, fuck, can't start it on a Tuesday.
Yeah. It's gotta be Monday.
All right, let's sign off.
Cool.
If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. All those social things. Check us out on the website, www.thetalkingdads.com. And make sure you hit the subscribe buttons on the podcast, whatever you like, iTunes, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
And give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, please do.
Because you liked it.
Yeah, obviously. Thank you.
That's all good stuff. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you listening in. And until next time, raise good humans.
Thank you.
Peace.
Hey, guys, if you love what you just heard or watched, and we know you did, do us a solid and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and throw us a comment, literally about anything. Your support legit keeps us going. Oh, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate you.